Okay. Yeah, it's gorgeous. I wrote this rhyme in Hawaii while admiring the beautiful stars. To go to Big Dipper, Jupiter, Mars. From a yard in Brooklyn, hit my usual bars. I rock the Japanese denim and the Cuban cigars. Packed with trees coming in from the Bay. Like Too Short, I chill with Long Beach Mike and Dave, New York. It's Mr. International. I paddle down 100 rivers, know enough to not show up. Rolling with 100 niggas. I pull my pants up and start forcing up like dancer. Get up, stand up, we need to man up. I got a picture of my kids as my screensaver. Grown-ass man, I stopped dressing like a teenager. Plus, I got my executive bars up. These regular artists, just reckless with all trust. Hostile cause the streets type rude where I come from. The only street you know is the white dude from London. Please.
You ain't got a leg to stand on. I'm the man in every city that I land on. I'm in your spot, I'm putting me and my mans on. Don't mind me, I'm just getting my grown man on.
Say what, say what?
I'm just getting my grown man on.
Say what, say what?
I'm just getting my grown man on.
Say what, say what?
I'm just getting my grown man on. Don't mind me, I'm just getting my grown man on.
It's 100 outside, 65 in the ride. Butter soft seats, linen on, see me slide. Out, no guesses, know who the best is. Fuck who the rest is, my aura impresses. These young niggas starting to stop with a necklace. Your charm cool, but I like leaving them breathless. Green and purple A's, sprinkling some gray. Summer green low when I'm posted in the bay. Underground in the A, like home in DC. Any borough, anytime, NYC. Back in NC, everybody feel a sense of pride when they hearing LB. Link with Kweli, making music that's timeless. For the rhymeless, you can find this where at in your grown ass man section. If you looking for that other shit, homie, then keep stepping. You ain't got a leg to stand on. I'm the man in every city that I land on. I'm in your spot, I'm putting me and my mans on. Don't mind me, I'm just getting my grown man on.
Say what, say what?
I'm just getting my grown man on.
Say what, say what?
I'm just getting my grown man on.
Say what, say what?
I'm just getting my grown man on. Don't mind me, I'm just getting my grown man on.
I was thinking back on summers past when me and my niggas was rolling down Summit Ave. Windows down with the pedal to the floor. Just how long ago, man? You don't wanna ask. I laugh cause it passed by oh so quickly, and my life went just the way I planned it. I mean, I know a nigga got signed cause he got rhymes, but I got kids, got bills, god damn it. So I ain't got no time for that kitty rap. Chitter chat, homie, with each word I'm painting the backdrop. Ain't got time for bullshitters cause life's the big picture. In each rhyme I give you a snapshot. Go to the crib and see old flames who miss they old frames, talking about how they life passed them by. I tell them, baby, you ain't gotta be so cold just cause you twice as old.
In every city that I land on, I'm in your spot, I'm putting me and my mans on. Don't mind me, I'm just getting my grown man on.
Say what, say what?
I'm just getting my grown man on.
Say what, say what?
I'm just getting my grown man on.
Say what, say what?
I'm just getting my grown man on. Don't mind me, I'm just getting my grown man on.
Video offers a rich and engaging way to connect with your audience, tell your story, and grow your business.
We've only just
Oh, yes, indeed. I like this. I like this. I like this. Hey, yo, Hot Tab. Do me a favor, man. Speed it up a little bit. From the intro, you know I'm so influential cause I'm glowing like a candle. The focus is so essential, dog. What you trying to get into? A steady to flow, ready to blow. Like snotty tissue, they snitching like Donnie Brasco. I'm counting like Monte Cristo. The ghetto full of betrayal like Iago and Othello. Your fellow neighbor will slay you. They'll smoke you like cigarillos. Police want that info to grill them like portobellos. And murdering instrumentals cause the rap with the conscience to villains, killers and monsters. So revealing the honor, so still fulfilling the promise. So nice to kill them with kindness. Hitting like Muhammad Ali, you more like Tatiana. All this is probably karma, you just honored the Father. Whether it's God Almighty or the almighty dollar, we follow the prophets like Islamics or the Dalai Lama. Your bullet point so hollow they could probably pierce body armor. Look in the scope, my people still a target.
Smile on my face, tears of a sad clown. Feeling out of place as I whistle a cab down. If I tip extra, can I huff a cig? Blow my smoke out the window, dropping ashes on the bridge. I'm in New York now, like Akeem. Window, dropping ashes on the bridge. I'm in New York now, like Akeem and Simi was, trying to get the lobby door open from a semi-buzz. I just want to go to the slum and throw my money on the floor like the notorious bum. Build a home, teach a class, start a revolution. Free the mind, heal the body, talking evolution. This that black Elohim Anunnaki rap, that Farrakhan Akeem Olajuwon Gaddafi rap. I dedicate this to my niggas in New Orleans, rocking black and gold stocking caps and fleur-de-lis shocky hats. I'm in the courtroom screaming, who that on the devil, serving gumbo with a shovel, dog. I'm on another level. Me and Kweli come together like two pieces of metal. We magnetizing the ghetto.
Yeah, now here's the memo. I'm a rebel without a cause, a bezel without no flaws. And shawty, you straight, bet you look way better without no draws. Let's sweat out this alcohol. Bet I'm about to ball and never let up. Look how I just crept up without applause. Fed up with all the frauds and left y'all without a job. The center of attention, this is clever. I'm Pal Gasol. Really though, I'm LeBron. Really don't got my mind on this new school of rappers. I would really go Columbine and throw up the diamond sign. Boy, you know I'ma shine. Flow is in Ramadan. Cause couple years ago, the game had they pajamas on. But now they on my dick, man, I should throw a condom on. Hey, cause a nigga coming raw like I ain't got one on. And I ain't stopping nor copping no please. I just like it low squeeze, dog. I'm on a higher level, I'm on top of nosebleeds. Niggas say they sick, but when they rock, they don't sneeze. Like the nigga on the block waving his Glock, but won't squeeze. Please. Hey.
Hold your applause until the ceremony end. Yours truly blessed yet again. A noble planted. Super magic abracadabra kid. Mysterious master gem. Black a pen arrowhead with the long barrel stem. And his apparel fresh. Harbor light shining out the black power grid with the black power grip. And pure power don't power drip. Push the cellar ceiling up and make the tower tip. The Gladwell point, the Babylon Palace. All about nothing where it's all about the dollar. And mansions on the fault line of a shaky market. The devil at the dance hall, thirsty for a partner. Get off him. There is not a parcel or a portion or a measure of a fortune more awesome, gorgeous. The funky four horsemen and one more with high tech on the score. Once more, of course, you're welcome. Thanks, appreciation for your participation. Special dedication, celebration, it's
So we're not allowed to talk now?
Nope.
Okay. Pause it on the YouTube, it's going to automatically play.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My phone's going off. Should have put it on silent.
Yeah.
Yes, good evening. Tonight on the show, we are talking about genetically modified foods and what we are eating. We have 3 hosts tonight, including myself, of course, and the other 2 hosts are
Roslyn Blue.
Angel Heart.
and we have a guest speaker coming on the show later on also. And feel free to Skype if you want to join in the conversation as well. I'm not sure the maximum amount of people we can have on Skype, but feel free to Skype and we'll try and put you through, okay? The Skype is Positive Entertainment. That's POSITIVENTERTAINMENT. It's a bit long, yeah.
Just go to the dictionary and find positive and entertainment, and there you go.
They've got to drop one of the E's though, isn't it?
The screen's gone blank.
They're going to drop one of the E's.
Alright.
So it's positive entertainment, but drop one of the E's after, drop the E after positive and just put in entertainment. Yeah.
Cool.
Yes. Okay, guys. So, genetically modified foods.
Right.
Do you eat them?
No.
No.
Yeah, right.
No,
Come on now.
definitely.
Of course, like, we can't avoid it. Oh, well, I don't know, I can't speak for you, Naina, but,
Yeah.
I mean, Angel Hearts.
Yeah.
But, we can't avoid it. It's, like, everywhere. I mean, and it's in all the supermarkets. Even if you go to the market, you buy from there, it's all genetically, the fruit and vegetables are genetically modified. Is it even like, you can't even trust the organic fruit and vegetable nowadays?
Everything's contaminated.
Yeah.
In a sense. You could say that and you could not say that. To me, everyone's mixed and matched. But it's when you start adding animals to tomatoes and when it gets a bit out of hand. Being a gardener, you can pollinate things and create things, but actually adding things that nature did not intend to be added together.
Like the cells of pigs into tomatoes and so forth.
Yeah. I mean, it's just not foods, it's even the cotton industry, isn't it? It's just about in everything, this. And I think we ought to be scared, guys. I mean, what are the effects? What are the effects? That's what I want to know. But I don't agree with it, no.
No, of course not, because you just don't know what they're putting in your food at the end of the day. And I mean, these actually could be the reasons why society is the way it is today, because of the things that we're consuming.
Yeah.
Well, because of a lot of toxins in them in the food, and it affects the bloodstream. So it's going to affect the actual emotional, spiritual even, and mental makeup of an individual.
And it also like imbalances the endocrine systems, which are very.
That's vital.
Yeah. Exactly.
Vital for our survival, isn't it? Yeah.
Definitely. So I mean, I'm not going off on a tangent, Norman. I promise. Okay. But like, I'm sure all of you lot know that Obama won the election.
Yeah, great.
We'll go into that a little bit like briefly. So basically, there was this thing on Facebook that I saw, like they were saying that electing Obama is like basically backing the Titanic up into the iceberg again. But then voting for Mitt Romney is like hitting another iceberg. I done seen a lot of people on Facebook be going on about, if you choose Obama, you're choosing the lesser of the two evils. No, I'm not going on a fun tangent.
No, go for it. It's okay. It's definitely related, isn't it?
Yeah. But a few months ago, I read an article on Natural News about how Obama basically, what did he do? He signed some sort of law. It's in the notes.
He signed a law.
He passed a law, did he?
Yeah, he passed a law.
Yeah, and they do that at night time, so people can't really stand up and and have their voice against it.
Yeah, just get.
I think what it was.
There's there's all kinds of things.
Was the Obama administration has given its blessings to PepsiCo to continue utilising the services of a company that produces flavour chemicals for the beverage giant.
The embryo thing comes
the human fetal tissue, isn't it? So basically, there's human fetal tissue in Pepsi.
We are taking part in satanic rituals like worldwide if we start drinking Pepsi and cola and eating McDonald's.
Any of these like major corporations, like you just can't trust anything that they give you. Definitely. With the whole Obama administration, the reason why I was going into Obama is because they had, like you said, had given its blessings to PepsiCo to basically what it is. There was a group called the Children of God for Life, and well, they basically they were actually against.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, exactly. They basically brought to light that Pepsi were actually using aborted human fetal cells in Pepsi.
Right. Yeah, that has been known.
What it is, Pepsi, they had so many other alternatives that they could have used for flavouring in Pepsi, but they didn't want to get rid of. What it is, they use a company called Cenomix. Now, Cenomix are the ones who use the aborted human taste receptor fetal cells, disgusting, in Pepsi. Yeah. But they had a really funny name for it, and it was isolate. They called it isolated human taste receptors.
That is a bizarre alien name, isn't it? It's like a different language going on. I mean, that's not the only one, is it?
But it's their and that's the thing with GM labelling, Like, I mean, come on, man, isolated human taste receptors. Not many people are gonna guess that. Yeah, that's aborted.
And it'd be called number E something.
Hidden. They give all these names, and they're all hidden to what is actually in these in the products that we're consuming.
I suppose the bigger picture is like we talked about earlier. Like they're all connected, aren't they? All these armies that run all the companies and the fast, food and all the rest of it. They're all connected. And they have to process all this. Well, it's going to be a bit blunt, really, but they have to process all these ritual killings somehow, don't they?
For real?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, they keep saying we don't die and we keep populating, and where is all this coming from?
They have to use the resources what they've
for real.
Who supplies it? Third world countries, wherever the BBC are. Do you know what I'm saying? All these organisations that ship kids around and humans around and we all think it's good TV and all the rest of it, good actors, good singers, and it's a big organisation, really, isn't it? It's like
they're all connected,
machine churning, and we're all in it, and we haven't realised what the game is. But open your eyes, guys, because it's happening. It's happening.
The elections were a big thing. I mean, everyone's going on about Obama, Mitt Romney, whatever.
I was fed up with it.
But also, another big event that was going on around the world was basically the GM labelling. Now, in America, in a few states, they were basically campaigning for all these corporations to actually put on their labels what they're actually using, what genetically modified foods they're using. Now, remember, I was reading somewhere that a product only has to have something that's 1% organic for them to label it as organic or natural.
That's true.
And one of the things that they were campaigning for is that anything with GM foods should not be labelled as natural or organic. Unfortunately, Monsanto, which is one of the biggest, isn't it? That's the biggest.
Hate them to bits, yes. Hate them.
Right, if people do research on Monsanto, they are the biggest sort of GM food corporation.
Well, they want to be the only ones who control the
seeds,
basically. The food. It's big money, isn't it? Really? Look at the farmers. It's a multi-million industry, and turnovers are good when the seasons are good, I suppose.
Yeah.
But, I don't like the way the government controls the farmer, because he does. You can't have that many sheep, and I can't believe all the politics involved in all this. But there is. But then to know that this American company or whoever wherever they are control all the seeds. So if you buy seed off them, and your seed mixes in with their seed, well, they will control it. So that's what they're trying to do with the whole world, really. Every country, and only that GM seed. The crop might work the first year or the second year, but definitely not the third year. It just destroys the soil. It destroys everything. I mean, the Indian farmers are crying over the cotton malarkey. When they were sold these cotton seeds from Monsanto, because you have all these big hunches going around to the villages, and I think they cause a problem, and then they have a solution. So the farmers in India were suffering for what reason I can't remember now, but then they had, they came, this super seed came, so they did really well the first year on that crop, and then the next year. But then obviously it went all tits up the year after that and the year after that. And Monsanto wants to claim all your seeds, but it's destroyed the land. I mean, God knows what these seeds are doing and what things they've created, And anyway, so all these farmers are committing suicide. Even today they're still committing suicide in the countryside in the masses because of Monsanto. I mean, it's not an American guy that comes around, it's an actual Indian guy, because they are backed up by the governments. Do you know what I mean? Because don't forget, we're fighting. There's only good and evil, and there's only one spiritual battle going on here, and it comes in many forms, I suppose.
That's right.
So basically, Monsanto has their laws been passed that these companies don't have to clearly label on their products what they're using in terms of genetically modified.
It's absolutely disgusting. Absolutely. I mean, that must show to people that, how they must think of us. Basically, what are we?
Well, we're cattle to them, aren't we? Yeah.
I mean, we are
useless cattle, they say,
useless.
Yeah. So we have to take back our power and research these things ourselves and not rely on other forces outside of ourselves to dictate to us what we should be eating and what's in the food and so forth. We should be researching that ourselves.
Yeah.
Take back our power.
Yeah. Because a lot of us have probably been eating these foods from day.
Yeah.
And probably when our parents were eating these foods, we were eating.
It's quite deeply embedded. I mean, it's not like they're just creating it. I mean, there's been stuff going on that we ain't never going to know, or we might, we do find out eventually. But let's stop playing games. I want clean food.
Yeah. Most definitely. We'd like to hear your thoughts, guys, on what you think about genetically modified foods. If you've done your research yourselves, because it is important. Because most of the foods in the local supermarkets are genetically modified.
Yes.
Whether we want to accept it or not. So have a look for yourselves, see the truth, and see what's really going on with our food. But basically, everything that we deem to be fit is sort of unfit. So we have to really analyse that and see if we can make changes ourselves.
I'll give you an example actually now, because obviously last week I went to Cyprus, isn't it? And a lot of the food that I was consuming there was actually more organic.
Yes.
And literally, I picked oranges off the trees, sort of thing.
Oh, dude, I'm so jealous.
Yeah. Anyway, but before I went to Cyprus, my mind was literally all over the place. I mean, Norman knows I'm a bit. But since I've come back from Cyprus, and it could be this. Probably because of the change in my diet, just for that 1 week, of probably not eating junk, not eating preservatives, not even basically not eating as many GM foods as I consume when I'm here. I can actually feel a bit of a difference. My mind's a lot more on it, and you find a lot. People talk about ADHD and stuff like that, and a lot of it can be controlled with your diet. You don't actually need to take these pills that they try and give you.
Yeah, it can be. Yes. Yeah, definitely.
So that's just an example. I think people should do the organic challenge if they can.
Yeah.
And see the difference that it does for them. So.
In terms of the voting, Paul from Truth Juice just put a quote from Mark Twain. If voting made a difference, they wouldn't let us do it. That's so true. It's so true.
It is true.
So they're selected, aren't they? Not elected.
Exactly.
Yeah. Selected by the likes of Monsanto and all these big corporations.
Yeah.
And they're well in bed with each other, probably literally as well. Man and man, woman and woman, and all sorts.
Sacred.
What they're doing
with kids
food,
as well. You know what I mean?
Processed food is really bad, guys. Come on, stop that processed food going on.
True.
I don't know.
It's an easy option though, isn't it? It's easy just to nip to Iceland. It's easy just to nip to Iceland.
And it's cheaper.
And pick up a £1.50 meal and shove in the oven. You get me? What could feed 2 or 3 people? Do you know what I'm saying?
Apple crumble.
Yeah, as well.
What are you eating though?
You get me?
What are you eating? That's what I want to know. I have an allergy problem to a lot of foods. I actually, I'm a chef, so I cook my own foods. I grow my own foods too.
Yes, and we're still waiting.
I'm really strict on my diet. Yeah, I said we'd have a bit of a cooking session whilst you guys on the radio. Yes, why not? And people have a lot of allergies through this.
Mm-hmm. My sister actually.
One minute you do.
My sister has a lot of allergies as well. She is allergic to all nuts, or except peanuts.
Really?
And she's allergic to sesame seed.
Yeah.
And stuff. There are a lot. People saying there are a lot more allergies now than there were back in the day. I don't know whether that's true or not.
I mean,
I believe it.
Can be one day you're not allergic, next day you can be. It's really sporadic, you know. So I don't eat fast foods and I don't go to all these fast food, to even get dips and things like that. I really do make my own home, things. But if I do, I do get a reaction to how strong they're using these E numbers and and people get affected every other day just from eating whatever they put in these additives or however they preserve the foods. So it stays in the shelf forever basically. But to have that in your everyday diet, come on guys, you've got to eat a bit better than that, surely,
And definitely, this is how I know for sure, that they're definitely injecting some sort of, excuse my language, shite in the meat that people eat.
It could be shite as well.
Exactly.
Literally,
No, I don't. Because in March, I took on a challenge to become a vegetarian, to become a vegan. It didn't really work out, but I've been pescatarian. And I've been mostly pescatarian and vegetarian. I've had a vegetarian diet for quite a long time.
You've done quite well actually.
Yeah, I did. I'm back on it as well.
Yeah.
I'm back on it. I've been back on it for quite a while now as well. And I sort of backslided a few months ago and I ate meat, but I got really ill.
Really?
Really ill.
That changed.
Yeah.
Shock to the system.
Yeah. Well, it could have been that, but then after that, I kept eating meat. I mean, I couldn't help myself. Once you eat, I don't know. Exactly, they must be putting something addictive in this meat as well.
They do.
Because I was craving Maryland chicken and stuff.
They're doing that meat and the coating and everything. I mean, they know the game they're playing.
Of course.
Industries that these slaughterhouses,
And but
chicken
every
is
time
big
I
money, isn't it? Really.
Every time I ate it, I felt ill and I felt crap and I felt depressed. Depressed.
Well, let's Google it. I mean, what is in all this the coating and everything? I mean, geez, it must have some kind of effect on people. What it will do later on.
Well, I mean,
if you keep eating that coating, that chicken. I mean.
Well, the chickens.
Geez.
Look at the chickens. How they're kept. They're obviously stressed, aren't they? And so that then transfers onto the person who's consuming it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something, I watched that documentary about those travellers that do different jobs and they were youngsters and they went to Thailand to do a job there. Did you ever watch that?
No.
And they went into work in a chicken factory
in
Thailand and it was just it just turned your stomach. And all these little chicken, because China does it in thousands of workers in a factory and all these chickens just go around.
Yeah.
And really mass production. All these souls. All I could see, I don't know. Check that one out. Anyway, it was called Travellers or something. It was a group of 4 to 5 youngsters, teenagers, and they go around working in all different countries and experience prawn farming in Thailand or something.
Okay.
And this was shown last year, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. But it was scary. This chicken farm thing in Thailand. He supplies everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, I think these are where the chickens are coming from. If not Poland, is it, or Europe? Somewhere in Europe, is that right? Horrifying.
Me and my cousin, we're very we're herbalists and we're really into our alternatives and everything. And she's basically now started to have raw organic milk that's not been pasteurized. Right. And you know how a lot of people, they're lactose intolerant and stuff. And she knows quite a few people who are a lot of her friends actually drink this raw organic milk, and their husbands are all lactose intolerant, but they've been drinking this organic milk, and they haven't had a problem.
No, I can understand that. Yeah.
And then her and her friends, they did a test, and they got pasteurized, normal, the standard milk that you get from the supermarket, and they got the raw organic milk, and they left it in the cupboard for a week. Now the raw organic milk started turning into yogurt. The pasteurised milk started going mouldy. Because when they pasteurize this milk, they take away all the goodness from it. Whereas the raw organic milk,
That's right, yeah.
So
I like yogurt as well.
Some people are a bit against eating dairy and stuff, and I think if it's organic, then it's not so bad.
Yeah.
But if it's pasteurized, then you don't know. Yeah. But and raw organic milk tastes better and stuff.
I like goat's milk.
Yeah. My dad was telling me, because my dad and his family, they were brought up in Malawi and stuff, and they were saying to me, do you know what? Like, they rarely heard about cancer.
Or anything.
When they were living there. Because a lot of the food that they had was organic.
Yeah.
And the only time when they started to really hear about all these illnesses is when they moved to this country. And more we're hearing about it because this could
and the government scares you, don't they? They scare all these people with all this scaremongering. You have to do this to your food or that to your food.
Yeah.
And I think because they're playing games, aren't they? Obviously, because I mean, before that Edwina thing, my mum always used to break eggs in milk and a bit of honey and a bit of turmeric before we went to school. But then it all stopped, and I kind of liked it, sort of, on a good day. It was kind of warmed milk. Anyway, it didn't curdle, it was really nice. But and then the Edwina thing came, and then that stopped, And but I suppose I wasn't, the only child. A lot of people used to do that back then, in the late 70s and the 80s. That's how we all used to go to school, But that will stop. So it makes you think, don't it? Because everyone does stop. So if the government say something, and then everyone listens and they stop doing it. And
it's like this eat 5 fruits a day. I mean, parents are so and the schools are so quick to enforce that onto people as well, aren't they? And they do it. I mean, even I catch myself doing it myself. Like,
eating 5 a day?
I must try and get 5 fruits in a day.
Yeah.
Because the government said so.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, hello.
We should just be eating that standard.
Anyway, standard.
Really
what I'm saying.
Yeah. I don't follow any of that. I think you should read your body. Because everyone's different, isn't it?
Most right.
Everyone follow your own signs, your emotions.
Your intuition,
Yeah, well.
Well, but intuition has been cut off, hasn't it?
That's
so
true.
It's going to take a lot of work to get back to a natural way of thinking, let alone living.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean? So we have to change our whole thought process.
Yeah. A friend of mine was telling me, right, in the African community, a lot in the African communities, especially people who've come from Africa, they're so adamant on feeding their children baby formula milk instead of breast milk. Because remember, like these idiot corporations like Nestle
do a good one.
I've gone to Africa and told these women that feeding your child baby formula milk is so much more beneficial than your breast milk, and it's like
it's incredible.
And they're adamant and I just think, but our ancients, I mean, surely, man, they didn't have formula milk back in the day. Do you know what I mean? Our ancient ancestors knew, and breast milk is very beneficial.
Most definitely.
So again, GM products.
Even if you say normal milk, cow's milk, which hasn't been pasteurised, also is good.
Yeah, exactly. Raw organic milk. In Leicester, there's a farm that does it 75p a litre, so it's cheaper to get than normal milk. Well, pasteurised. Well, that's normal milk, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pasteurised milk is not normal, but we're programmed to think it is.
I don't really have a lot of milk in my diet.
No, I drink almond milk.
Okay, sorry guys, I've got a bit of a cold this evening, so you have to excuse me. Right, we're going to go for a music break, and then we're going to bring in the Truth Juice guys. I think Paul Morgan from Truth Juice, and Craig also in the house. So after the break, we'll bring them in through Skype. Okay, so we're going to hit you with a nice tune now called "Buy Me Lunch." How appropriate, eh?
Buy Me Lunch.
By Blue and Touch.
Don't be fucking sensitive. Revolution. Question for you. Would you buy us lunch? Nah. Hey, let's play. AKA get paid. Some of y'all don't know. It's time to go. Shake. Azulito's birthday cake. Yeah. We can't wait. Time to penetrate. Go.
Check it. Another lit cig, another crack brew, another low point in my life that I can't wait to pass through. Another joint lit without a brother I can pass it to. Another black suit I gotta buy, and I've had two. Another rap crew lost that thought cash rules. Another permanent scar in place of arm tattoos. Another nigga with an attitude, sending up another prayer to God to forgive me for all my bad moves. Another bad decisions and bastard acts of vengeance. Another Christian lost religion over Baptist visions. Another doctor diagnosed another cancer victim, claiming another aunt before we had a chance to kick it. Another clinic visit due to unprotected love. Another sin I pray that God one day can cleanse me of before he sends me up to rock with yours truly. I gotta make it through these hard times, John. Sing it to me.
Hold on, John.
Yeah, hold on.
John, hold on. It's gonna be alright.
They say it's gonna be alright, but I'm just trying to make it through these hard days and dark nights.
You're gonna win the fight.
For real, I hope so. They say without pain we won't grow. Another heart that I broke, that's beyond repair. Another unanswered question like, why are we here? Another desire, despair, distrust, destroyed proof. Another voice in the booth, sick of avoiding truth. Another poison pollutes, another boy in his youth. Another minimum wage for that employee with roots. Another choice, but I choose to toy with my tools instead of building another reason we joyfully move. Another boy that we grew under another crack addict. Another reason to pick up another bad habit. Another cat broke that don't believe cash matters. Leaves another back broke from another slash addict. Another case catching up another black rapper. Another second with a shit I would've backslapped her. Another one of dad's patterns passed down to me till I heard my grandpa up in heaven screaming down at me like, shit. Then I realized it's just another sunny day without no chance of rain. Another reason we should stand hand in hand and sing about the fire that's inside, and my boy fans the flames when he calls me up and says he understands my pain. Another chance I have to open up the door for opportunity I use so I can stand for something more in my community. Another chance to tell my mother what her love can do for me if she takes a chance to hear the way this music moves through me. I tried to school a thing, but I'm a stubborn human being. Another kid without a voice, but still I choose to sing. The They never told us we can rule as kings. They want us doing foolish things like fighting wars and shooting teams. To me, that's just as bad as banging and moving keys. I'm praying we choose to lead the part in how we live this movie. It's either weed or it's this E and J that's getting to me. Hold up, I think that's just an angel singing Lennon to me.
Hold on, John.
Yeah.
John, hold on. It's gonna be alright.
They say it's gonna be alright, but I'm just trying to make it through these hard days and dark
You're
nights.
gonna win the fight.
Yeah, okay, I hope so. They say without change we won't grow. So I'm saying,
Hold on.
yeah, hold on.
Carrying short like forensics, body backed up, toe tag what? Murder with the flow, every stanza. Caught up in my hooks like fish scales, your sentence is skip bell. Nobody spit nothing. Pass the mic, Lord, there's curtains when I reach that to touch it. Smack the crown off your duchess. P.I.C. with the flow lovers. It's for thugs who wanna politic, we're trying to double up checks, your honor. You rocking with the best, see the symbol on my chest, glow runner. 16s from the Punisher, very messy with the construct. In the influx of the coroner. The bow down to the earth's finest as I described it. Hold me down like your royal highness.
Yes, I am Logic and I'm here to deliver the truth. I am a builder, building an army of truth. I don't use words to spread the negative. I put my energy into making tracks like relatives. I've had to sell a bit, I still do, cause I know the plan. But I've grown wings to fly away, Superman. First and last punchline I probably ever seek. I rather speak about why people are calling it the Middle East. It's pretty deep, I know there's probably people getting sick of me, but till I see equality, you're never getting rid of me. Ask Chemo, he kinda knows my history. Now it's shut down when I hit a beat. Give me the mic, cause I'm not done until my execution. My solution is we gotta fight for this revolution. Tie your boots and get your weapons. Make an army with your brethren. Done the play and done the acting, fam. We need a global faction.
Have you got bars? I'm trapped and locked in the lost stars. The place I'm at, you'll never find me like the lost star. I feel to take it back to Averex and Cop Clarks, but then they'll start to say I'm whack and I'm subpar. It ain't about the image, it ain't about the critics. It's about the spittage, I swear this shit is making me live it. Your rhymes are midget, you rhyme it midget. Man, I'll spit it, see a wig and split it. You ain't wrestling with excellence, excellent is my flow. I'm reckoning you should recollect everything that I quote. I'm leveling while you settle and never ever let go. You better in us, I'm betting that never ever could roll. Cause we're the lost tribe of MCs, AKs, MPs, aiming them at MPs. Overthrow your dead scene, we're taking heads clean, not venomous. We got this global faction, we'll ever in any team. What?
Waterboarding, drowning MCs.
I flow better than a bag of man, brandishing ratchets in the transit van. My pyroclastic hands, fashion molten daggers, I dispatching clans. I got the sickest standards in the man of fam, the most potent force, Trojan horse flow, of course. I cut them seas up like shark fins.
Okay,
He
guys,
tried to
thank you
duplicate
very
the
much
man,
for
that
that
is
short break. We had to, do our thing. You know what I'm saying? No doubt, no doubt. A bit later than planned, we're having the Truth Juice guys in. I'm going to shout them in right now whilst we here. If Angel Heart and Rosden, do you want to continue talking?
Hi,
whilst I...
Hello. Have you got the mic? Oh, yes. I have the mic.
Okay. So anyway, GM foods.
You didn't have any problems earlier on going on YouTube.
Huh?
You didn't have any problems earlier on. Now you've gone all quiet. What's going on?
The thing is, it's such a big subject, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's just really hurts to know about this Frankenstein stuff and
yeah. To know that our foods are being
having it pushed
messed
on
with.
us,
Yeah.
And obviously none of us want it. Why are they pushing it? Like we need it, you know. And to improve the standards or whatever they're coming out with, or at the moment they're using the excuse that all the crops are failing due to the weather, and this super seed will be introduced to whatever crops failing, and then we're all going to be in a bit of a mess, aren't we? So yeah, let's talk about it. I'd like to know more about this, GM food.
For real. An observation that I've made, is like, a lot of people who eat McDonald's,
turn into McDonald's.
No, but okay, no offense to them, no offense if you eat McDonald's. Actually, okay, if you're offended, I'm sorry.
Well, this is just chat the truth,
isn't
it?
Actually, I'm not offended, and you're all idiots eating McDonald's food.
Okay.
It's not something that we talk about just now. I mean, we've been talking about McDonald's fast foods for a long,
chat the
long
truth,
time.
man.
Anyway. So it's like it's not as if it's a new thing. Come on, Stop it. Stop the addiction, because I think that's what it is.
Yeah, but a lot. I've noticed. I observe people in town and stuff. And a lot of people who eat McDonald's. Sorry to say, they can be dumb. Dumb as what?
Well, actually, it looks like they've gone to a crack den, scored their food,
True.
and come out really happy. And they all look sad when they go in and line up, but once they've had that food and they come out of that McDonald's and you do see it. But they've got this kind of weird grin on their face, and
it's like
and off they go shopping in the
manufactured grin.
Just,
that.
I mean, I think someone should go and interview people as they're coming out and ask them questions and see what their rate of intelligence is before they went in and when they came out. I don't know, but I suppose it'd be interesting, to what are the effects? Sorry, what are the effects?
They did this. I've watched on YouTube. If you get a chance, go on YouTube. And there was this guy who was basically testing out like normal food, like proper food.
Yeah.
And normal was cold. And McDonald's fries.
Right. Okay.
And basically, like after a few days, after a day, the normal potato chips had gone all rotten. But the fries, they didn't change after like 6 months.
No.
So you know for true that there's something not right.
Something's not right. Yeah, that's true.
Food.
Yes.
True.
So what what can be done about this? I mean, how can actually people, knowing all this,
people just need to wake up.
And it isn't a new thing. This has been going on for more than God knows how long. You know. So what is it? What's going on? Something's going on, because I'm not in the same wavelength as us. Someone said. Look, Naynar, I put thought into it, so it's got to be some kind of addiction to the food. I remember when McDonald's first came to Leicester anyway, everyone loved it. I mean, it was a big thing when they ordered the McDonald's, all the kids around, all your uncles and aunts, and it was a big thing, and everyone was eating it, and what are the effects of it? What's happened to all those people that went back then in the 80s and ate McDonald's food? Are they diabetic? Suffering from Alzheimer's? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? What are the effects of people eating it just about every day in their diet or every other day in the diet? Back then it was like a treat once a month.
Right.
You know what I mean? But now it's like everyone goes every other day. Don't
There's pictures.
We've got Paul and Craig with us
on
the line. I'm not sure if the ladies. I'm not sure if the ladies actually heard the phone ring.
I did. I said, "Are you gonna answer it?" Hi, Paul. Hi, Craig.
Hello. Hi. How you doing?
Hi.
Good, thanks. How are you both?
Not bad.
All right,
Can you
then.
hear me all right, or I'm a bit loud or quiet or whatever?
Perfect, actually.
Yeah, we can get a bit of volume. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. So we've got Angel Heart in the house. We've got myself in the house. We've got Rosalind Blue in the house. We've got Paul in the house. We've got Craig in the house. So we're gonna have a discussion.
I keep wanting to say architect.
Craig the architect. Yes, indeed. We're gonna have a discussion on genetically modified food. What are we eating? Is what we are eating any good for us? Is it poisoning us slowly but surely?
I think it's good for us.
You think it's good for us?
That's why the vote.
happened yesterday, isn't it, over in the States? So Craig can elaborate on that. Can't you, Craig, about the vote?
Proposition 37.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Essentially, yesterday there was a big vote in California about getting genetically modified food actually labelled, because unlike over here in Europe, the United States have not got any legislation which forces manufacturers to put genetically modified ingredients on the food that they're selling. Now, up until yesterday, there were about 17 states which had tried to push through labelling laws, but they'd all backed down because companies like Monsanto had threatened to sue them.
Yeah.
And yesterday, because it was California's the only state with enough money that could actually take on Monsanto. But unfortunately, yesterday, due to what I can only say is a complete hate campaign by Monsanto and Syngenta, they actually lost the labelling vote by 53 to 47.
Wow.
So it's a bit of a big setback for the GMO campaigners.
Yeah.
But what I actually found quite interesting about it was the actual companies that were funding the No campaign, which I managed to find after a bit of digging around.
What? No to GMO?
They're actually against the labelling, and you've got typical companies like Coca-Cola and Pepsi on there.
Yeah.
But you've also got companies like Heinz, Kraft Foods.
Wow.
Unilever's on there. You've typically got Monsanto and Syngenta on there. Kellogg's, they're on there as well.
Okay.
They funded the campaign. Nestle, Ocean Spray Cranberries. These are all companies that are saying we don't want to see GMOs labelled. Why would they want to do that?
Right. Obviously, they're the companies who are GMO crazy.
For real.
Well, exactly, yeah. What's the vested interest? What have they got to gain from it? So.
Well, and a lot of them companies, what you've mentioned, are the products what we use here in England as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, of course, the very companies that we look to be protecting us, or should be there to protect our constitutions, are people like the FDA and DEFRA, of course, in the UK.
Yeah.
Of course, we know how innocent they are.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, very.
Well, I mean, just to go into that a little bit, actually, regarding DEFRA, I mean, this is the whole reason I got into the GMOs in the detail I have. By no means am I an expert. I got into the whole food thing when I joined Truth Juice last year.
Okay.
But when I heard about the open air trials of GMO wheat in the UK in March this year, that sort of triggered a raw nerve with me. And I thought, well, what can I do?
Yeah.
I thought the only thing I can do is, who allowed it to go ahead? So I just thought, okay, I'll contact DEFRA and I'll actually speak to them myself.
Okay, brilliant.
And I've had quite a bit of email correspondence with them. Basically trying to find the trail of, who actually allowed it originally.
Yeah.
Because it's ultimately they've turned around to me and said, it was agreed by the government. I said, well, don't the British public get a say in this? And the response I got was quite awful, really. It was, the government was voted for you, by you, the public. So it's your fault that you've got it, basically.
Yeah.
Read between the lines.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be fair to the person I was speaking to, with the correspondence, she was quite open and transparent with all the questions I was asking.
What sort of position was she in is it deaf right? Is it?
Yeah, she was basically their I suppose press correspondence person.
Okay.
So she couldn't give me the scientific side, but if I asked a question, if it was on the scientific side, she would go away, contact somebody, and they would provide me with a response.
Right.
So they were very good that way. But basically the whole argument was, well, the government agreed to it. We voted the government in. It's paid for out by taxpayers' money and private investment.
Mm-hmm.
There's really not a lot you can do.
Wow.
And one of the questions I did ask was that, well, how did the general public find out about open air trials? How can we object to it?
Yeah.
And basically, what they said was that it was advertised in a national newspaper that they were going ahead with the trial.
Okay.
A single national newspaper, which they couldn't divulge to me which one it was. And they said, oh, and by the way, it was on our website as well. But I mean, how many people do you know that go onto the DEFRA website and look
Well,
at
there you go.
bad individuals like me?
Because to be honest, Craig, I didn't even know about DEFRA. I knew about the FDA in America because we always read about it, but the UK one, I had no idea, to be honest.
It used to be called MAF a while back, Ministry of Farm, Food and Fisheries.
Right.
At that time, I was actually a subcontractor for them.
Okay.
You'll. I mean, I know Craig had an interesting piece of corresponding a while ago. It was more, not so much, well, it is to do with not as such to do with GMO. It's about nanoparticles in food, which is another area of the same area of contamination, really.
Something I put on hold for a while, Paul, because I had this whole sort of like GMO thing come up, and I also had to do something. Yeah, cause as well as DEFRA, I also had loads of conversations with supermarkets.
Okay.
And I was trying to get out of the various supermarkets. Can you tell me? Do you use GMOs? And they said, we don't sell any GMO products. We don't sell.
Who were they? What do you know? What supermarkets they were?
Co-op's one of them.
Oh, okay.
So Co-op
Okay,
don't
right.
GMO products.
Well, in the cheese department, they have GM in one of their products. Yeah, if you look on their cheese selection, I'm sure it's got GM on.
Sainsbury's were quite good as well, surprisingly.
Okay.
None of their poultry is fed GMO feed. The rest of their meat, the organic ranges aren't fed GMOs. Everything else it can be hit and miss.
Okay.
But again, they were quite transparent about it.
Right.
Okay.
They're probably frightened though, if in that respect, because if you get somebody into an argument, they've really got to cover themselves.
That's right.
Yeah.
If they do say something publicly that they say we don't, and then they turn out that they are, then
Actually, one of the worst supermarkets I found with their response was Morrison's.
Okay.
They basically came back and said, well, we don't really care whether it's GMO. If it's cheap and the public want to buy it, then it's fair game, basically.
Well,
Wow, that is just outrageous.
I'm not shopping at Morrison's anytime soon.
That's my personal choice. Based on that response I got from them.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there's quite a few of them are not really ethical, really, when you get down to it. I mean, Tesco's, for me, are equally as bad as Morrison's. I don't know what experience in that. When you ask them serious questions, then that's when you really test them out.
Yeah.
But it's
But
like
I will say one good point for Tesco's.
Yeah.
They're not a member of the Round Table for Responsible Soy.
So what?
Repeat that again.
The round table.
Repeat that again, please, Craig.
Now, this is another rabbit hole I got led into while looking at the GMO thing.
Okay.
I think it was Asda who, in their response, they were bragging about they were a member of the Round Table for Responsible Soy.
Okay.
So I'll do a bit of research on this, find out what it is, what they do, and it's supposed to be like it's a global organisation which has been founded, to promote sustainable growth of crops, particularly soya, to help local communities, all the rest of it. I mean, principle sounds absolutely brilliant until you actually look at the members list. You've got Monsanto, Syngenta, all the big supermarkets, and when you actually look at what their actual strategy is, genetically modified soya is actually part of it and classed as being sustainable and as being good for the environment. And when I found this out, I went back to all the supermarkets and I said, well, how can you ethically sign up to being part of this organisation when they're promoting genetically modified foods? And as soon as I posed that question, all the supermarkets refused to talk to me about Roundtable for Responsible Soy.
Wow.
They all basically, even the ethical ones like the co-op who were signed up to it, they came back to me and said, we're not talking about Roundtable for Responsible Soy anymore, that's the end of the matter. They just literally cut me dead like that.
Wow.
Yeah, I hit it raw. So,
well, you mentioned the word round table. I mean,
exactly, yeah.
Saying, because if we're setting up communities, we're setting up circles, and that's been done. As long as there's a strong ethical, that everyone in your community agrees with, that's fine.
Yeah.
But as soon as it's got a corporate edge to it and somebody's profit driven, then how can that be in anybody in any community's interest?
Yes, that's right.
Than somebody's pocket or wallet.
Yeah.
And let's not get off track with GMO, because you go GMO crazy and then realise that even the non-GMO stuff is really bad for you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mentioned obviously just pasteurised milk earlier on. I mean that modified cornstarch, obviously the soy lecithin. I mean, there is so much of that packed in the supermarket. It's almost difficult to find a product without one of those ingredients.
Actually, as a point of interest, and this comes back to Sainsbury's again. Yeah. Sainsbury's have recently started selling cheese, which is made from raw milk.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is quite surprising because we came across it by absolute chance. And unpasteurised as well. They've got a whole range out now, which to me, for one of the big four supermarkets, that was a bit of a shock for me to see that.
Yeah. I need to go have a look in.
So that's completely raw milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It actually says made from raw milk.
Okay. So
you know, to shed some light on that though, Craig, because having lived in Belgium, and I know the company that I think owns Sainsbury's is called Delhaize, and Delhaize, if they're not owned by them or vice versa, are a French-Belgian company, and they do sell unpasteurised cheeses anyway.
Okay.
But having said that, of course, they're in the UK, which makes it very unusual.
Yeah, because a lot of French cheeses are raw anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. It does actually say on there made from raw milk, and it has got a health warning on as well.
Yeah, of course. The DEFRA rule on raw milk is they're allowed to sell it at the gate. So technically, when you buy raw milk in this country from whoever you're buying it from, technically you're buying it from their gate, and then that's all right as long as it hasn't gone to market. It's an okay sale.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good piece of knowledge.
It is, yeah.
I mean, we need to be sourcing as much good food as we can, obviously, and the information needs to be there for our community and everyone else who's listening to this and other radio shows and all this, I should say, uncorrupted media network that we're trying to create.
Yeah.
Whereas we're getting real people talking about real subjects in their real lives, and actually going out and making a difference by walking the walk, by going out and
that's right.
growing their own food, getting unpasteurised milk, and finding the information and giving the information out. I mean, obviously, I think a couple of you were at our talk last Monday with Barry Groves on the cholesterol myth, and obviously there was a section in there. His whole thing is about eating fat and the cholesterol being good if you eat the right foods. it goes without saying, it isn't easy. I agree with both the girls earlier on. You know, virtually everywhere you turn out in the street in the town, there isn't much choice other than a bit of poison. You choose your poison, try and make it as least
poison
as nutrients as possible.
Yeah.
And don't add any stress to it when you're eating it. Actually, still love yourself
Still love
and
the food,
you're
that's right.
getting when you get it as well, isn't it? Because if you're going to eat it and you're going to have to consume it, you might as well be in good karma.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I mean, you're better off growing your own food where you can.
Yeah.
So, because at least you know where the food's come from and what's got into it, and the fact that you haven't put any pesticides on it.
I mean, Paul, this is like something like Truth Juice are trying to achieve, isn't it? Is like joining communities together and making our own communities. I think that's a good idea, is to step away from all these major corporations, is to grow our own food.
Yeah, exactly.
And make our own
It's
communities.
kind of what we're going, isn't it? We've got to go there with these radio shows as well. It's just to really to say, yes, we need to point out where these people are going wrong, where these evil corporations, whatever. But all these evil corporations have real people working for them who are capable of love and community. So all we have to do is walk our walk, and they'll go, hey, look, they're doing it right over there. Look, they're healthy. They're doing that. Otherwise, protest doesn't really got anyone anywhere.
That's right. Exactly.
No great achievements with the Occupy movement. No great achievements anywhere apart from a little bit of a ripple. But that all it's causing is dejection in the people who were really ready to wake up, saying, "Oh, look, they didn't. It's not worth it. Look, they didn't get it."
Yeah.
Because
I think the phrase you're looking for, Paul, is leading by example.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, there are companies out there who are, like you say, even if they're little marginally ethical, even if it's co-op and they've got one policy, let's pick on and look at the good that they're doing and try and get them to expand on that. I mean,
exactly.
but we do really want to give our money to people like Leicester Whole Foods, who've been going for 20 odd years, and they've got good products, and when a few more of us shop there, that money's going to a man who's got a home in Leicester.
Indeed.
Sainsbury's, Asda, or somewhere else, but that's getting back into your community.
So it's look after your own house basically, and start in your own area with from your family to your neighbours, and
Yeah, so we'll promote the companies and start up new companies as well, obviously. But some of our members are self-employed people. There's so much happening. It's easy to get bogged down with there's so much going on and just look at all the problems and just carry on doing what you're doing.
Yeah, because that's definitely something, because on this show, I mean, we want to highlight these issues and talk about them, but like we're doing now, we want to talk about the solutions of how we can get away from all this, because the elite, or whatever you want to call them, they're going to keep doing this, and they're going to keep doing it, and we can be aware of it, but we need to in order for us to fight them, it's not to go out protesting like Paul's saying, it's to just step away from their dictation of their perception of how we should all be living.
Coming out of the Matrix, basically.
Yeah, basically, exactly.
There's a lot of people who want to be in the Matrix still, whether they know it or not.
Yeah.
They're ready to wake up or not. But we've got, as we know, the number of our people turning up to these, listening to these radio shows, turning up to the meetings, the truth talks, is increasing all the time.
That's right.
Brilliant stuff,
Don't doubt intelligence. People are intelligent, and through adversity comes the greatest change. Through people losing their homes, their jobs, and everything. The one thing that the greed machine is causing more people to wake up.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, and and people are finding new talents, and we are resourceful, and and I think we can surprise ourselves definitely.
I think we're going to have to be, aren't we?
We're gonna.
Who was it who said necessity is the mother of all invention? Because I think that's the period we're in at the moment. Yeah, people are having to look for alternative ways of doing things, either because of financial issues, health issues, the whole thing, which is causing this whole group consciousness and awakening that we're seeing at the moment.
And we're part of the ship. We're part of the people to steer it forward, and we have to do it with love and understand that certain people aren't at the level where we're at, or others are at.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not necessarily about sort of like trying to wake people up.
No.
But it's being there for when people wake up themselves.
That's right.
Yeah.
And just say, yeah, you're not on your own.
That's
You know, we've been through this already.
Yeah.
It's just, I suppose like a sanctuary.
Yeah, it is, because it can be quite scary when you first wake up. We had a new this week come to us, and it could be that they've come in through the health thing and they've realised about the drugs and whatever and the big pharma side of it, but they weren't aware. They come into a truth community and they go, "Oh my God, the chemtrails and the legal awful and the free man thing." It's overwhelming, and you've got to say, well, look, you've got to paint a more balanced picture right from the start. You know that this is what we're doing about this one little bit, and this is what we've done here. Look at this. Garden over here, this community garden. This guy gave us a bit of land, and we were growing a bit of permaculture on there. You know, that's the sort of thing we need to be doing.
That's right.
And it is happening, and we are doing it. We've got the mechanisms in which to use it. Trust law is one of the ones that's really showing us the way to protect ourselves in the legal structure of the current system. I mean, those things will maybe eventually fall away as unnecessary as the loving community grows and spreads out its wings properly. But right now, we can be that beneficial virus in the system.
That's right.
That's true.
And we know there's lots more people out there.
That's right.
So we need to get whoever's out there, come check us for real.
People are actually scared to talk about this. I find they're quite scared to talk about this. It's like people want, they go numb. They don't hear you.
Exactly. But it's very much like the policeman scenario where you can have a fairly awake policeman, but he's still got to pay his mortgage and he's still got to enforce false legislation and corporate law, and that on its own, is they are almost like being held in a tighter prison cell than we are.
Indeed.
And there's lots of people who work for council, government, and it goes throughout the whole, spectrum of, employment.
That's
where really, they've got to live in that fear to a degree because they can't see an alternate. Even myself struggling away, signing on a Tuesday, on a fortnightly, on a Tuesday, trying to apply for as many jobs as I can. Really not even wanting to. Really, I just want to grow my food, and we've taken our daughter out of education this week, and we've gone to the homeschooling. But let's bless it, because the system is there to let you do it. So let's not point the finger too hard at this, because there's quite a few. We've got quite a few friends who've already homeschooled already, and the legislation is there for you to be able to do it. So there's no point looking at the school that she came out of. They've got CCTV everywhere. They're fingerprinting. It's like they're all terrorists walking around, and they're being taught fear and false education. Basically.
That's right.
So from every angle, they're bombarded with the rubbish of the system. From Chris Columbus discovering America to CCTV. What is the point of? We were so relieved the day last week when was her last day. And we're so relieved to think, why were we doing that? Until you eject yourself a little bit from the system, then the genetically modified foods and so forth, the kids are coming up now. You speak to them in the street in Hinckley, and they won't even know. They won't even care. They'll just go and buy something, with even more GM in it, and eat it in your face and go, look, I love this. This is fantastic.
Where do you start? When your children, it's like, parents should be, explaining all of this and researching all of this, and then there's no hope if your parents ain't clued on, and how can we help? And I suppose we're here to do just that, really, to educate. What you guys are doing,
Because the TV's not telling them, is it?
These guys are the youngsters, their age group, so, this is the way they're going to connect to their community and people their age, and we have to support this show actually, and it's really good to know that Truth Juice is here today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Gary's talk on Monday is about perception and how it shapes our lives, and how basically the subconscious side of it, our unbeliefs, drives what actually gets manifested in our lives. It's a very interesting workshop if those are interested coming down to that. I think Gary might be talking about that before that.
We've got Gary on the show on Sunday as well, actually.
So I mean, that's the sort of thing that's that's going down. And it is for me recently, and I've realised this through a good friend of mine who's one of our top talkers called Darren Diogi. He talks about family and community, and he says, like, basically, if there was a world disaster or there was some major thing going down and there was, you know, police on the streets or one thing or another happening, who's going to come to your rescue? Somebody on Facebook halfway around the other side of the planet, or your neighbour 2 doors down who you don't even know their name. You don't even know them to say hello to them. They don't even say hello to you. And so where is that community then? So why don't we start to try and, you know, to call that brother, uncle, cousin that you've not spoken to for ages, or go and take some freshly baked cakes round down 2 doors down and ask them their name. So, you know, hello neighbour. You know, even if you get the door slammed in your face, at least you had a try.
Exactly.
There was actually a like sort of thing going on in Leicester where people were on Facebook. It was like an event where people were actually baking cakes and going to their neighbours and giving this cake to help community cohesion. So that's definitely something we need to look into.
Consider doing, especially in the communities in the inner city areas.
Exactly.
Because a lot of that togetherness in the inner city areas is dissipated.
Definitely. I mean, you know, I don't know, everyone has skills, everyone can share their skills, whether it be growing your own
That is true, but a lot of people who fall out of the system when they lose their job in their little, you know, repetitive job in the factory, or whether there was an admin in a little cubicle, or whether there was on a conveyor belt in a factory, they come out into society and they think, well, that's what I've done for the last 10, 20 years, what else am I worth? And they have this amazing, like, overwhelming feeling of not being worth anything in their community because they see what they've got to offer. But we know that everyone's got something to offer.
Exactly.
I mean, there is. It's just finding what skills you have, I suppose. You know, and you know.
There's so much potential out there.
You know.
They say that the graves are filled with so much unfulfilled potential. And it's a shame. But I mean, this is what we're all here for. Truth, Juice, Innervibe, Essence Radio is to empower the individual, to empower themselves. And it's so important that each and everybody knows this, that they have that power within them to reach in, not keep reaching out, because it's this reaching out business, reaching out to the TV, reaching out to GM Foods, reaching out to a saviour outside of yourself. That ain't happening, and that's the realest of the real. We have to reach back inside ourselves and tackle our demons.
I think that there's when you and me, Norman, and quite a few other people, maybe even listening to this show, have got down the spiritual side, and that's really helped them in their lives. The fact that they're connected with themselves.
That's right.
You know, a lot more. But a lot of people, I know myself included, a couple of years ago, probably wouldn't have even understood what you were or what I'm talking about now. So as you gently come in and start to do things like maybe a bit of yoga, meditation, Tai Chi, or listening to peaceful music and having half an hour on your own in a room. You know, whatever your medicine is, it's worth doing that start with to just give yourself some clarity. But I agree, the inwards thing is so important because we're so bombarded from the outside world. We're overly bombarded, and it's all external. So all of our focus has been out there.
That's it. That's right.
And I like sort of physicists, people that look like Nassim Haramein, and that when you draw the pyramid inside the circle, and you keep putting half side, you know, triangles on their side, you can carry on fitting those pyramids or triangles into that circle indefinitely. And that is the symbol of infinitely inwards. It just like you can't imagine space coming to an end. It goes back inside your own self, into your own very core of your being.
That's right.
And you are this massive well. But you know, it's just like you can't run out of ideas.
That's right.
If you can tap into the universal energy of that, it's just you can once you can feel the love of it, you can feel it in your community.
Because at the end of the day, we are cosmic beings, isn't it? And we take in that cosmic light. That light is energy, which transfers into information.
It's all about finding that inner truth within yourself. And once you get into meditation and you find that spiritual side of yourself, that point of singularity, it soon comes to you.
That's right.
It takes
and just by being in that moment,
That's
you
right.
see everything external to you and it starts to fit together like a massive jigsaw puzzle, and it just all starts to make sense. The whole food stuff, spirituality, the law, it's all part of the same thing.
That's right.
It's just a different aspect to it.
Exactly, because that's when the intuition kicks in then, because you're training your other senses to work properly again.
Yeah, some people call it gnosis, like from the Gnostic term of the esoteric meaning of the inward in that representation. Because if you get told something tonight, and I tell you for the first time something maybe that you hadn't heard before, a truth that it's come from that community, and I say it to you, Norman, and you go, you say, yeah, Paul, you're right, and you know instantly that I'm right, even though we haven't necessarily had to delve through books and reams of information. That's whether something's right or wrong. And where does that knowing come from? And that comes from inside, doesn't it?
Yeah. And that's what I always say to people, whenever they are doing any research and any sort of education and looking into information, is to meditate on it. Pray on it, meditate. Don't be scared to meditate. Don't be scared to pray. So, I mean, we've got this idea of that there's no God exists, so we automatically discount the soul and the spirit at the same time, and that's where a lot of people have gone wrong in society. And that's why we ingesting all this genetically modified foods.
Everything's misrepresented, isn't it? Everything from religion to all forms of faith. It's
that's the thing, you see, Paul. I mean, it's like where I work. I mean, if I said that I do meditation and stuff, I'd immediately be classed with the tree huggers.
Yeah.
That type of meditation.
I'm a tree hugger.
We're
tree huggers in
it. You know where I'm coming from.
Definitely.
Avoid him. Yeah, a lot of people, they're just completely switched off to it, and they've got these preconceptions about what all the alternative stuff's about. It's like you start talking about chemtrails. You immediately dropped into the conspiracy theorist bracket. And it's like, what's wrong with conspiracy theorists? It's theory.
Exactly.
So,
yet they go and take their theory tests.
That's right. They're not going to test themselves because it's much easier to be driven by something else from somewhere else, by the rules and regulations of a corporation. That's all it is. Even though people see that, people see it as corporations and the government. That it doesn't exist. It's all one corporation. Corporations acting in common interest, and those corporations only act in common interest whilst it suits them to control the consumer itself.
That's right.
That's it. As soon as they can get on top of one of themselves to get in front. Don't you think that it looks like a big fight at the top there? All the big boys. Walmart versus them. It's all a big act, really.
Yeah.
One big show.
One big show,
it's
and
like a circus,
being distracted by that. And if we're distracted by that, what are we doing? This is where we're coming back to growing our food, meditating, and helping people out of the matrix, as you quite rightly put in there. Because it is, people have got to realise. Because I did that when you rewatch some of these films back, you've probably seen it yourself. You rewatch and you think, oh my word, every single piece of media film that I've seen in the last year, even if it's a minority film, it's rammed with truth.
Yeah.
Because it's the best place to put the lies.
Do you know what? A good film for people to watch, especially on this topic of GM foods, is Branded.
Oh yeah. Fantastic.
That film, people. You know what? If you get a chance, watch Branded because it tells you about what they're doing for
mainstream
marketing,
film, is it?
and about the foods that they. You know what? Definitely, that's a good watch. Deep meaning in that film. Deep film.
Oh.
At one point, I did feel like I was hallucinating though.
What was you going to say, Paul or Craig?
Is it a mainstream sort of film or?
It came out in the cinemas in September.
It is mainstream.
Months ago.
Right, no, not seen it.
We just sort of spent one night and we decided to watch it, and we didn't really know what we were watching. We were getting into. But it's a really good film. Definitely good watch.
Yeah, well, like I said, I don't think there's one that you can't pick up out there. I mean, Mira and myself had a joke about a year or so ago, and she goes, I want to watch something non-truthful. I want to switch off, be entertained, and watch a film. And I said to her, that's not possible, but I'll stick one in anyway. So I read out 3 or 4 films, and she picked Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And it starts off with John Lennon and the Walrus, and I went, there you go, truth.
Oh, God.
Poor Muriel.
Yeah, it's like, once your eyes have been opened, everywhere you look, it's looking you in the face.
Of course, yeah.
And it's so, once you know it's there, it's so blatantly obvious, but you think, how could I have missed it for all these years?
Exactly,
yeah.
I've got Clara, who's 11 years old, and we watched, Men in Black 3 the other day, and she noticed on the background, not even in the main part of the audio, in the background audio on the radio, it was saying that fat was good for you.
Okay.
Wow. There's some truth, look there. And I says, yep, you're right. Wow. I didn't notice, but there was the whole film is ran from absolute, and some of them have got even more truthy, I think, as time's gone on.
Yeah.
You know, but like you say, it's just like noticing now.
See, that's it. You see, Paul. There's got to be they've got to have some unwritten rule somewhere that they have to tell people the truth.
Yeah.
But they don't say how. They tell you.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same with all the. Like I said, I'm sure because. Well, faith is my sort of main knowledge interest when it comes to reading books, faith and spirituality, and looking at, most religions at the core were set out with a good intention and with the right stuff in there, whether it's the Bible, the Quran, or or the Hindu books or anything really. It's just been anything that's mainstream has been. It's been the right place to hide the lies in amongst all the truths.
It has.
And it's been so played out with that. I mean, it was like somebody was asking me the Christian question, and I said to them, they said, no, I'm a Protestant or something like that. I says, well, that's still a Roman Catholic, I'm afraid. And they said, no, it isn't. I said, yeah, well, if it wasn't, and you would have been shot and burned a long time ago.
That's right.
Because they completely changed Christianity, completely changed it.
Yeah.
I mean, even from, obviously, you've heard all the stories of the Black Madonna, and you've probably heard,
hidden in the back room in the Vatican.
Well, not just then. No. You're talking about like in Paris and Chartres and and up to Roslin, of course, as well. I mean, there are Black Madonnas.
All over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, all over the place.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. So there's loads. Well, whether Jesus was of a black or not, or whether James the Just, his twin brother in Compostela in Spain, is actually him, and and it's the other way around. And they kept the family going. But you've got to imagine that there's circles of truth everywhere, but there's circles of love. They talk about Illuminati being a bad thing. Who says who? If there was a beneficial good and the undercurrent of all this at the moment, what would you do if you wanted to? If you really had the stakes to be able to take this lot down, would it be a beneficial secret? And I'd say yes. Sometimes secrets are good if it's one that's there to sort of be hidden away from the bad until the right moment, and then to take it down. But I'm not saying that any particular organisation is all good at the heart. But all I'm saying, there will be some organisations out there that are exactly where we are.
Yeah. Okay then. Do you think maybe it's a case of them knowing that people are not ready to wake up, so that some people will not be able to handle the truth, and that's the bottom line, isn't it? Some people can't handle the truth.
I think we're all able to handle it. It's just how you can deliver it. And of course, some people just need it to be fed in a lot slower than others. It's all about your acceptance level, isn't it?
Yeah, because you can't exactly go up to somebody and say everything you've been told is a lie, and you're living in a matrix. You can't do that.
No.
Everyone's awakening is different.
Yeah.
No, but there's what I'm talking about. There's been people who have actually committed suicide, gone crazy. They get depressed. Do you know what I mean? Their coping mechanisms may be out of sync.
You have to be careful, definitely, because it's quite a shock.
I
What are you saying, Craig?
I think what was good, like when I started
saying, we're looking at it from different perceptions. So someone who's my son's age, who's a teenager, is much more open to new ideas and stuff like this than someone who's in their 80s and 90s and has been set in the ways for however many decades. Being hit with the truth could probably kill somebody that age.
That's right.
Because they've had the whole life wiped away from them.
Yes, it's either the truth or the statins, eh?
Yeah, exactly. So you've got to be very careful sometimes.
Absolutely.
Very true.
Absolutely.
Very true.
But I prefer to go back to my comedy roots with being Welshman with Max Boyce and the rugby matches and stuff like that. One of his songs that he says, well, he died with a smile on his face. I say it's going to be the pill or the pill, like you say. If the truth's going to kill, I would still rather have the truth, no matter what, But the main thing to drop, of course, is the fear. And if you can totally get to the point of dropping the fear, then that's where I start. But all healing has to start from within, as you're pointing on. And the only way for you to heal from within, as I'm realising big time at the moment, as I'm having my sort of real push, moment of this last few weeks and days, where it's all down to forgiveness.
That's right.
And no matter what it is, big, small, or whatever, you've got to wholeheartedly forgive yourself.
That's right.
Because all of them are judgments
That's
that
right.
you've made based on yourself.
That's right.
Whatever it is, right, wrong, indifferent, and it's great. And I will plug Lindsay as well, who's one of our new regulars. So she does EFT, Lindsay.
That's right.
And she came around with myself and Mural about a week or two ago, and she did this EFT, emotional freedom technique. What can I say? Wow. To be emotionally free from past trauma is a big thing. And people are traumatized. They are obviously toxified from the environment, the food and everything else. And if they can clean up a bit of the diet, like you say, maybe you can't do it all in once. You can't do it all in a day. But if you can just drink a bit of water and drink a bit less sugar.
Gradually, because I mean, all these foods are addictions, aren't they? So gradually
off the addiction.
Sorry.
Absolutely, they're all addictions, aren't they? Yeah.
But it's baby steps all the way, Paul, because it's this whole sort of like healthy living with food and stuff. With myself, I did an experiment with myself to start with, which was I examined all the food I was having. I avoided anything which had got artificial additives. Got rid of drinking the water out the taps, so no more fluoride. I was only drinking bottled water and stuff. And probably within about a month, most of my physical aches and pains had gone.
Wow.
Oh, God.
It made such a difference.
Yeah, a couple of things. I mean, obviously the oil helped into that as well.
There was that as well, but it was also like, because I stopped it, I only did the oil pulling for about 2 months, but this has carried on now. And on top of that as well, it's like the clarity of thought I've got now. It's like, it's a bit scary at times, because at work, I'm really, really sharp now. I'm sharp with anything I put my mind to. Once I start analysing stuff and going through it and thinking, well, it could be this, could be this, could be this. And, compared to what I used to be, it's a bit of a shock to the system just by doing something as simple as that.
Can I ask one question? I mean, we're talking about GM crops, I know that, but what about aspartame, guys? It's in our drinks, it's on everyone's table, and they're proud to drink all this diet stuff, and it's still going on. I mean,
well,
the effects of aspartame,
I know someone who drinks Diet Coke. She only drinks like Diet Coke.
Yeah.
And she takes a lot of painkillers. So obviously she's mixing diet.
Never
the pain that aspartame's causing,
Never ever have anything that says diet on it. That's just a general guideline.
For real.
Never ever, because they're guaranteed there'll be something artificial in it or modified behind it.
But people want the quick fix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want that quick fix. They want that magic pill. You know, so they don't have to do any
Anything.
work.
It's something. It's really deeply programmed. I remember when they first started to bring in the saccharin in the 70s and the 80s when I was a child, and every parent was really happy to take it. Even they're working, no exercise, but they're so happy because they thought that's all they ever needed. But they all ended up with deep problems, and one of them, my father dying, and I'm sure it was the effects of all these aspartame and all these pills, and the pharmaceutical companies making money out of it.
Just on the point of artificial sweeteners, this is something that I came across myself through doing some research around additives and stuff. 6 of the big artificial sweeteners, which we've got like saccharin, aspartame, all those types of things. 6 of them were discovered accidentally when they were doing investigations for something else, when the scientists accidentally swallowed some of the substance that they were experimenting on.
Wow.
This was just something I came across by chance when I was looking up how each of the sweeteners was made. And I thought, hang on, I've just read that. And I started going through more and more of them, and 6 of them, saccharin, aspartame, there's another 4, another 4 big ones, that you'd recognise the names of.
Craig, I read somewhere that aspartame was it was discovered in a factory, do you know, during the war? And they were making chemicals or something for bombs, or I don't know, for some sort of thing. And then someone licked the aspartame by accident and saw that it was sweet.
Yeah, that's it,
Is that what it was?
Yeah, that's it. And saccharin was exactly the same, and there's another 4 just like that. They were doing research into something else, and there was a substance produced, and for whatever reason, the substance accidentally got on the scientist's hands, and they rubbed the mouth or put the finger in the mouth, and found out that it was sweet, and thought, oh, we can use this.
Fantastic.
But we're
going to throw it in the bin.
Didn't know what it was. Would you put it in your mouth?
Wow.
Well, yeah. Well, that's just it. That's some pretty dumb scientists, I know.
And I've noticed that they've actually, aspartame is not written in small words anymore. It's actually like they've increased, it's quite loud.
Increasing size.
And no one's paying attention.
You noticed as well what the big thing is with aspartame as well is that obviously they've got to get it into the addictions in young, and of course in things like fruit shoots and other children's products, including medicines, it contains aspartame, and to get aspartame out of cow pollen and things like that, it's unfortunate, but that's what they're doing.
Yeah, and they've started renaming aspartame now as well.
Neotame.
They're calling it amino sweet.
Oh, what? What was that?
They're calling it amino sweet.
Oh, they're not
amino, as in amino acids.
Yeah, amino sweet.
That's what they're calling it now. Amino sweet.
Isn't it like aspartame? It contains phenylalanine. I can't pronounce that word.
Well, if you go to Wikipedia, it says everything, and it says like the dangers. It's actually toxic. So I mean, I seen it on someone's table once, and there was coke and that. I'm like, they couldn't let go of it. They said, they couldn't believe that. I said to them, you either have sugar or you don't. You either have the full coke or you don't. Not the in between aspartame or the sweeteners and things like that. But to them, it was horrifying to even think that, to take it off the table and replace it with water. What's the alternative? This is what they are saying. You either do or you don't. You either do or you die. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't understand these people's mind patterns. I just don't know where.
It's hard for people to break away from it.
It is. It's very addictive, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely.
It's got to be addiction. What else can it be?
Yeah. My mum, she's got a vitamin D deficiency and everything, and obviously that's due lack of sun. And then they say
haven't we all?
Yeah, but they say that eating fish helps to
That's
replace.
Right.
And
so isn't it certain types of fish?
Yeah, but my mum, her diet is mostly of fish and stuff. And my mum was saying to me, "But I eat fish all the time. I eat a lot of fish." And then afterwards, when we was on holiday, I realised that she drank Coke, lemonade, Coke. I wasn't happy with her drinking it, but
No.
and then after I said to her, do you know what? One of the reasons, Mum, you have a vitamin D deficiency is probably because you're drinking all these fizzy drinks,
It's killing all
and
the
that's
goodness
killing.
inside you. Yeah.
You're probably eating good food, but that's what's killing it. And it's hard. And she even got upset one night. I go, Mum, you don't. I said one night I just said, you know what? I'm not actually happy with you buying Coke because you're buying into these major corporations which are harming our human brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
And she got Mardy with me.
Well, she's harming herself, obviously.
See, that's what I don't understand. It's like, you know, you really got to fight with them.
Yeah, but by me saying like it's harming yourself, she didn't care. When I started bringing that whole guilt thing, she got angry at me for bringing that guilt thing, and it is almost like an addiction.
You know what? You know, you're talking about that nano thing. I think that's what it is. It's like
nanoparticles.
And yeah.
Well,
you know,
on the nanoparticle thing, you know, we're talking about sunlight and vitamin D and stuff.
Yeah.
One of the worst, I suppose, products that you can buy is sunscreen.
Yeah, for real.
Especially the clear stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's two types. There's titanium dioxide and there's iron 2 oxide.
Okay.
Now, when those particles are at a nanoparticle level, they become transparent, which is where you get your transparent sunscreens from.
Okay.
But the investigations that have been going on, I suppose, relatively recently, and some of the research that's been coming out, they've actually found that at a nanoparticle level, things like titanium dioxide, it actually reacts with the cells under the skin. And when UV light hits it, it causes a chemical reaction, and it can actually interfere with your DNA makeup, causing things like melanomas.
Right.
In a future show, we're actually going to be discussing like health and beauty and
Yeah.
products, and we're going to be discussing the alternatives. So yeah, you guys, you should definitely come and join us on that as well.
I could touch on that, but obviously we don't want to get too deep into that if you want a future show, because obviously just got to touch on the fact that the skin itself is the body's largest
organ,
digestive organ. And it's not just digesting vitamins D from the sunlight; it's digesting anything you put on it, including links or whatever else it is.
There should be a simple rule: whatever you put on your skin, you should be able to eat it.
Yeah.
Because if you can't eat it, you
So
should.
coconut butter, everyone.
Shea butter.
Yeah, when I
I
went to Cyprus, I used shea butter as a sun protectant, so I'd stop getting. I didn't get burnt or anything, and I actually tanned quite nicely. So.
You know, natural products, everyone, make your own.
Yeah, but what we do, you see, because we have got children, obviously, and you know, when they're at school, the schools make them take the sunscreen with them to school.
Yeah.
So what we do is we get a sunscreen container that was one of the accepted ones. We tip it out, wash the container, and we fill it with cow's milking grease. And that nipple grease that they use to milk the cows, the old-fashioned. It's a brilliant sunscreen, and of course they think they've got a normal off-the-shelf product.
Yeah, because I burn all the time.
And because Muriel burns so easily because she's so fair, and it works fine. Never been any problem with it.
What's that one? The cow's grease?
No, nipple grease.
Milking grease.
Nipple grease.
Where can you
Come on, Paul.
Get the nipple grease on, man.
Fantastic.
It's funny, isn't it? Because like all the kids follow other kids, and they will scream for their sunscreen. It's like a fashion thing, or it's embedded in them, and with the parents, it's embedded in them. And if you question it, they look at you really weird. Like, you know, I have nieces and nephews, and they just look at me weird. Like, obviously now they understand. But, you know, it's like, it's just incredible how programmed people can get, you know, over products and the fashion of it and how it's been sold and so forth. And
but they've been sold with the bright lights and the slick advertising.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, how they do it, isn't it? It's like the kids running around and... You know, and then you see a frying sausage or something. And your kid be fried or something. You know, and everyone's horrified. I mean, once you get the parents, it's all over, isn't it, really, you know?
Yeah.
Well, that's it. I think Thomas Sheridan put it in a nutshell when he came over to do a talk for us. He's a great guy to do truth talks, and his book, Puzzling People, is absolutely brilliant. And he quite rightly says there's a few psychopaths in key positions, and then there's a layer of the unaware teaching awareness to the unaware.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But I know it sounds scary, but that's pretty much sums it up.
That's in a nutshell. most definitely.
So all we can do is bring out true awareness and true family and true community.
Exactly. And that's what Truth Juice, Innervibe and other organisations are all about.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's I Can, Think Free.
That's right.
Deep Horizons, We Are Change. There's loads.
That's right. Shall we have a sing song?
Yeah. Let's have a sing song, yes.
Not with my voice.
Oh, yeah. maybe another night when I'm intoxicated with some natural substance.
Oh, fantastic! Okay. And what sort of natural substance would that be?
What would that be?
Is it GM modified?
What,
is it modified?
Homegrown.
Well, yeah, it's yes. It's straight from the plant, I should say. Yeah, dried just enough, but not too much.
Fantastic.
And I was, of course, talking about lime flower or linden tree.
Yeah, that's the one, Paul. Help you get to sleep.
It does, yeah, it does. Not too bad.
What's that one?
Lime flower. It grows in the UK. I don't know. You tell them, Craig. I don't know.
It's a tree. It's a tree that grows in over most of Europe.
Okay.
Romans brought it over to Britain, planted it at crossroads because it has a calming effect.
Wow.
And if you have like the leaves and the flowers in a tea, I can vouch for this myself because I used to suffer from really bad migraines.
Okay.
And I could never get to sleep with it. Tried some linden flower tea, and within 5 minutes I was out like a light. It's the best night's sleep I've ever had.
Fantastic.
Nice one.
What's it called again, please, for the listeners and for myself? Sorry?
Linden or Tia?
That's my other half, Heidi.
Hello.
She's the herbalist.
I'm the one.
Fantastic. Hey, how you doing?
I'm the one who's dating him with the linden.
Could you type it in the Skype, please? So we've got the full name.
I'll do that for you now.
Fantastic. That is news to me on that one.
So this actually grows.
You'll find it in most of the cities. It's to keep you all calm.
Oh, okay, right, okay. If I
when
see
you
a picture of it.
Go down a lot of the high streets, they often have a lot of linden, or even down people's streets.
You can buy it.
Probably don't notice it. It's like a little lime. It's called lime flower as well. Lime flower or linden.
Linden.
Well, the Latin name is Tia.
Right, Tia. Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
It's amazing what there is around.
It'll get rid of your migraines, and it's like a mild sedative. And if you suffer from insomnia, it helps with that, and high blood pressure and all stuff. It's a wonderful. There is a saying that if you fall asleep underneath a linden tree, you'll meet the fairies.
Oh, fantastic!
and I just correct Craig on that one. That lindens, I think, has been here, but the Romans planted it in the towns and the villages and things like that to keep the people calmer.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's why it was originally put there. You'll see it on bridges a lot of the time, or as you
if you get the flowers and the leaves, though, you can dry it out yourself, and it's probably a bit more powerful than if you buy it.
It's a female tree. It's a female.
Okay.
More than the male.
It
smells beautiful, and if you park your car under a linden, you'll normally get all the sticky stuff falls from it.
Oh, right, okay.
But you normally get it from, herbalists normally, or,
Don't whack boiling water on it and kill it.
So I always recommend, if you're going to use herbs, is not to heat them over 40 degrees, really.
Okay.
Warm it up and let it stand for as long as you can. And let some of the medicine come out, and then just keep slightly reheating it.
Yeah, I put mine in the morning. I put mine in the morning in warmish water, and then I just put it in the pan and bring it up to temperature. And then if I do want some sweetness, I have some raw honey in it. But it tastes fantastic on its own. It doesn't need anything at all. It's very light.
Oh yeah. It affects everybody differently. Some people it will really knock out. Somebody had some from me the other day, and he was really worried because he thought, oh God, I'll try and stay away. He didn't realise how strong it was.
Have you ever smoked it, Craig?
Oh yeah, he did. I made him smoke some just to test it out to see what it was like.
You can smoke it,
yeah. It doesn't smoke.
You go a bit chilled out with it, Paul.
He was a bit moody because I made him smoke it, and it made him go drowsy. It affects him much more strongly than it does me.
Wow.
Can I ask, would it be better to smoke it in a water-based pipe?
Most products are better smoked in water-based pipes because it cools the smoke down. It doesn't hurt the lungs as much. I think shisha's good as well. If you're getting a bit off subject, because some people are tempted to put other herbs in to mix, you know.
Yeah.
But it's not massively powerful. I don't find it massively powerful. If I've got my usual sleep problem...
I know you don't find it massively powerful, but some other people do. It affects Craig much stronger than it probably does you or I. It depends on you, and also it depends on the quality of the herb, especially if you take it fresh.
Yeah.
I mean, most people have it dry. I mean, you've had it dry.
I literally had it fresh picked within 2 hours coming off the tree core.
Yeah.
And is that the best way to do it?
Yeah.
Well, it's not. It only lasts for about a week or two, so that's why you normally, have it dried. It's just as good. I mean, it just depends on the season as well, really.
Yeah, I made quite a bit. I put about 2 or 3 tablespoons full in a large mug full, and I left it stand for quite a long time. And then it definitely did work. And the other thing as well, because I get like adrenal problems as well, it like pushed me straight through it, if you like. It kind of, it went through a sweat. I had to have a shower. I went through a really big sweat, and then my body completely went limp, didn't it? Muriel said the first time, I was so relaxed, it was unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah. So it does work powerfully, and I did use that. That was the linden flower I got from yourself, Heidi. So
I suppose you could use that for meditation purposes as well.
Yeah.
Well, anything that aids the relaxation is going to be. So
Well,
we need to have a show on this.
And I think a lot of lindens were built on lays as well.
Okay.
No, not built. Were put on lays as well, not on ley lines.
Lines, yeah.
Oh, so it's taking up some of the chi out of the earth. Yeah.
I think we should definitely come back again on another show and talk about all these herbs and alternative herbs and everything.
Definitely.
Yeah,
And it's not hard to grow herbs or to find.
Because I never heard of a linden flower or linden or lime tree to win and class ourselves as herbalists.
Yeah, no, definitely,
Sort of.
guys, you need to come on again.
Jack of all trades, sort of thing,
yeah, and a master of none.
I think it's important, isn't it, to recognise what's outside your doorstep, and where these where you can find all kinds of things, whether it's to eat or to apply upon yourself or to take internally for other things.
And stop relying on these major corporations.
Oh yeah, stop the pharmaceuticals, stop taking the drugs, and change your diet. Clean your system out from all those E numbers, aspartame, and the fluoride.
Just trying to suppress symptoms, that's all you're doing.
Yeah. See, medicine is all around us. It's everywhere. I can go into my back garden and I've never planted anything in there, and I can count at least 30 odd herbs that you can use straight away, and that's just in my lawn. Simple daisy, that's the medicine. The dandelion. There's so much stuff out there that people aren't aware that's there.
Well, that's it. Everything that you eat or put on your skin or on your body is both medicine and food. You can't really separate those two because they all have effects. If you eat too much of one thing, then everything has a balancing effect. Different things have different potencies. That's all you have to bear in mind. And I think if you want to balance. I think Magnus, another one of our talks, Magnus Mullers, says everything is about too much, too little, or just enough. And what you want is just enough of a balance of not everything, but everything that's suitable for you. And we do need to know what those plants are out there, and it is a case of science or nature. Well, science can work sometimes, but when has it been done ethically? And
it's when it's the right intention that's behind it. Which a lot of the time at the moment it hasn't been.
But it's getting that knowledge to people that these things our ancestors knew, about all these different plants and things, but it's been sort of robbed away from us, if you like. And we need to bring it back so that it becomes common knowledge again.
Definitely.
That everybody knows these things, and that some of it's the most simplest stuff, and it is about, not being, I suppose, lazy-minded once or something, that they can just pop a pill. But you know, you need to know how to make it yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and some of it's really quite simple, and you can have your own pharmacy, like herbal pharmacy, if you like, at home. And they can't stop you then with the Codex Alimentarius because it grows outside your back door.
Yeah, exactly. I find a lot nowadays, especially in science, is that they've cut out the spirituality and the nature side in science.
Yeah.
And
in mainstream science.
Yeah,
anyway.
in mainstream science, and that's
There
where
are some cases of it crossing over now, though. I mean, yes, the corporate machine is driving that, but there are some mainstreamers in the who are writing papers and the PhDs out there who are looking at the alternates and are delving into them seriously.
Yeah.
And we have to, again, it's a bit like pointing out the good instead of looking at the bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, still have to look at the whole picture, but let's just point out that there are people who are realising, that there's much more going on in the real scientific world. I mean, Rupert's one of them. Have you heard of Rupert Sheldrake?
Yeah.
Several books he's done with animals as well. If you believe. Talking to animals and psychically talking to animals. But he's basically bridging the gap between physics, quantum physics, and spirituality.
Yeah.
He's a real mainstreamer, and there's lots of people like him out there.
Yeah, there is. I mean, you got the likes of Dan Winter as well, who's a physician. There's quite a few heads, but I won't say that they were mainstream. More underground or underwater even.
All I'm saying is, they've got mainstream qualifications.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. And it's about bringing them as close to the mainstream as possible, so that mainstream listeners and followers, avid followers of mainstream, can absorb that information also.
Definitely.
And I think that's what people really turn their nose up at things which are different to what they've heard from a mainstream perspective.
I find that a lot. I have that battle with people in my circles that I talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, they think I'm kooky.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, as you said earlier on, Craig, we're not here to wake anybody up. We're just here as guides and teachers.
That's right.
And people have to wake them. They have to wake themselves up. That's right.
Yeah.
They have to wake themselves
There's
up.
no point in lecturing people because that don't work, does it? I mean, you're wasting your energy basically. If someone hears you, if someone hears us, and we light a spark, well, there you go. Even if it's just one. Anyway, we're enjoying this talk. I mean, we've got to do this again because
we've got to keep doing it.
Well, that's what communities are going to do. They talk, and I think that's the basis of old communities. For me, this is what part of my research was verbal tradition and tradition, and that's where poetry and songs that got carried on chanting down through families, and they protected those chants and those songs like their best family jewels. They might not have had gold rings or jewelry or whatever, but they had those family heirlooms that they chanted down. In that history was divine knowledge.
That's right. And they always had that one person in the family who was a griot or a storyteller who would tell the stories.
And
pass down the information.
Well, in sort of like the Druidic traditions, you'd always have like the bards.
That's right.
It passed down the knowledge from generation to generation.
That's right.
Well, as you know, Craig, there's more to a bard than meets the eye as well. Because
I know exactly. But bard was only one step on the path towards being a druid.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the bard himself was making it at a certain sonance, obviously, that chimed with a certain chakra or whatever it was, what the intention was. So it actually went in at a much deeper level. They weren't just words, and of course we spell all our words because they are really spells.
Spells,
So if you and it's how you sound the spell, and basically the sound of the spell is based on the intention behind the sound of the spell.
Yep.
So, and if you're feeling an intention into a word, it means completely something different. If I say I'm happy or I'm really happy, you know which one you're going to go with.
Yeah. In the beginning was the word.
Yeah, as well as that side of things, the local villages, you'd always have like the local wise woman. Who knew about all the herbal remedies.
The old wise
shamans.
woman.
There are two things you should know about the old wise woman. She's old and she's a woman.
So, Craig, that's just old wives' tales.
That's a good one.
Well, that's it. They're dissing the very truth that we should be listening to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Might be a wolf in, was it?
Sheep's
someone-
clothing.
Yeah, sheep's clothing or something of the sorts. But
Yeah, we have to listen to the elders, isn't it? Most definitely, because
Yeah,
they do have wisdom.
especially when it comes to their knowledge of herbal medicine and things like that, and things in the cupboard, and we should have just stuck to things in the cupboard, actually, you know.
There's that saying, isn't
Or the
it?
garden.
Listen to the elders and watch your children.
Yeah. For real.
Yeah.
But pharmaceuticals, you know, please don't go near them.
Right then, guys. We do have a good 20 minutes left on the show, so if you guys still want to hang around, we're gonna go for we do like breaks. We have music breaks because we like music, don't we? To stretch our legs, you know. Some people might want to go for a smoke or whatever, you know. You know, or a drink of water, tea,
or nature calls.
or nature calls, yeah. So we're gonna have a music break. So we'd like you to come back after we've played maybe 2 tunes. Will that be okay, Paul and Craig?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a smoke and a cup of tea. So yeah, I'll see you in a minute.
Okay then, bro. Okay.
Thanks, Norman.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
That is great. It's good, isn't it? Yeah. Sorry.
People talk, that's what they do. But they don't understand. Home is still a push and go through. Yes, they laugh, they call me names, but they just don't get it. How them see me, I hold my head up just the same. When them see me, them just keep on talking. Me not see them, I just keep on walking. I got my pride. Me nah go show my bad side. Some of them see me as a big pushover. Left me for dead and think I'm gonna kill over. Oh no, not I. I will survive. Never let them get you down. Never let them see you frown. Never let them take away your liberty. Live your life and be free. Never let them get you down. Never let them see you frown. Never let them lead you astray. Starting today, live your life and live it your way. When you go through heartache, when you feel in pain, when you end up in a desert and I wonder why the hell it not rain. When them pass them judgments and every word left a stain. When them talk up the things them just to mash up your life and give you bad name. Them think you're weak, but I never saw them blunder. Bad mind and think them left your business asunder. Don't give them that power. Show them you can be stronger. Just take up yourself and make the whole of them wonder how you get up when them a try keep you under. Don't believe their lies. Show them that you will rise. Never let them get you down. Never let them see you frown. Never let them take away your liberty. Live your life and be free. Never let them get you down. Never let them see you frown. Never let them lead you astray. Starting today, live your life your way. I say, people talk, that's what they do, but they don't understand. Home is still a push and go through. Yes, they laugh, some call me name, but they just don't get it. All them see me, I hold my head up just the same. Some of them see me as a big pushover. Left me for dead and think I'm gonna kill over. Oh no, not I. I will survive. Never let them get you down. say that.
Black power, white power, world peace, only on God's hour. How we segregated and we all slaves. Why we segregated and we all slaves.
Clock in, clock out, it's no doubt. We on the clock, tick-tock, it don't stop. Living this hard living, God willing we straight. On the chase for the paper, on the way to home plate, yeah.
Black power, white power, world peace, only on God's hour. How we segregated and we all slaves. Why we segregated and we all slaves.
Clock in, clock out, it's no doubt. We on the clock, tick-tock, it don't stop. Living this hard living, God willing we straight. On the chase for the paper, on the way to home plate, yeah.
Come on, little soldier, here's your gun and uniform. If you hear him scream, fuck it, just ignore him. Kill them all, they train like it's the norm. You wanna be a slave, here, sign a few forms. You ain't brave till a AK's in your arm. Shipped to Iraq, blowing up every shack. Busting kids in the back, looking for a couple niggas that's whack. They killing us back, we slaves, without whips and chains. This is what happens when they wash your brain. No matter when you came, if you cool or lame. When the government moves, you do the same. Well, you can call me crazy or you can call me change. Fuck a minimum wage, we tearing up every stage. Until my niggas get paid, turning naps into fades. Yeah, until my name's on a grave, nigga.
Sometimes I feel like a colorless child down by the riverside where they wash my grins away. But still I pray. Why? Sometimes I feel like a brotherless child down by the riverside where they wash my friends away, my kins astray. My.
Black power, white power, world peace, only on God's hour. How we segregated and we all slaves. Why we segregated and we all slaves.
Clock in, clock out, it's no doubt. We on the clock, tick-tock, it don't stop. Living this hard living, God willing we straight. On the chase for the paper, on the way to home plate, yeah.
Black power, white power, world peace, only on God's hour. How we segregated and we all slaves. Why we segregated and we all slaves.
Clock in, clock out, it's no doubt. We on the clock, tick-tock, it don't stop. Living this hard living, God willing we straight. On the chase for the paper, on the way to home plate, yeah.
If you wanna be free then, 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 if you wanna be free then. Now everybody go and tell your masterpiece. We can't stop war until we master peace. And if I have to preach up on these master beats, I'ma let them know this what my master teach. I'm an athlete, the way I run for my rights. Monster nigga, you better run for your life. The cotton fields of life, brown skin under lights. Flee to freedom, run away from the strife. Come on.
Sometimes I feel like a colorless child down by the riverside where they wash my grins away. But still I pray. Why? Sometimes I feel like a brotherless child down by the riverside where they wash my friends away, my kins astray. My.
So that was Martin Parks with the Slaves.
That's one of my favourite songs.
Nice track.
I kind of listen to like every day.
For real.
Yeah.
Well, you overplayed tracks
Anyway.
Constantly.
Anyway, yeah, so yeah, on the show we've been talking about genetically modified foods amongst other things. We're going to get back in touch with the Truth Juice guys. And yeah, it's been a great show. Thank you for anyone who's tuned in. I mean, we've discussed about the GM foods and what damages they are and how these major corporations use these to sort of, in a way, control us and we're programmed and we're so addicted and everything. And we've acknowledged this and we're talking about this, but and also what we really want to talk about is the solutions,
Mm-hmm.
because to every problem there is a solution.
But going back to the genetically modified foods, there was a report what came out. I think it was June 17th of this year.
Yeah.
Report by Dr. Michael Antonio of King's College in London School of Medicine. It was entitled "Why Genetically Engineered Food is Dangerous." This was a new report, as I said, back in June of this year. He warns against genetically modifying its use in developing crops for human food and animal feed. This report concludes that there are safer and more effective ways to meeting the world's food needs, he said. And there was another person named Dr. Fagan, who was another author of the report. He said that crop genetic engineering as practiced today is a crude, imprecise, and outmoded technology. It can create unexpected toxins or allergens in foods and affect their nutritional value. Recent advances point to better ways of using our knowledge of genomics to improve food crops that do not have or involve genetically modified food.
Wow.
And that was by Dr. Fagan from the report entitled "Why Genetically Engineered Food is Dangerous." Check it out online.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of there's a lot of misinformation, but there's a lot of information that we can get.
This is coming straight from the experts themselves, isn't it?
Exactly.
So the genetically engineers themselves, they know what they're talking about. So check these guys out. As I said, it was Dr. Michael Antonio of King's College London School of Medicine, and Dr. Fagan, a former genetic engineer.
Yeah.
And he founded a company, GMO Lestings, was it? There was a company? Yeah. GMO Lestings Company he founded. So, or GMO Testings Company.
Yeah.
He founded it, So, yeah. We're going to get the guys back in now to see their thoughts on that. Right. I'm going to try to call them. I'm not very good at using Skype for some reason.
Hi, guys.
No, not there yet.
Oh, they're not there yet.
Hi.
Hi. Okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm doing.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm here. Are you?
Hi.
Yeah, I was just listening to that there where you say, there's a lot of experts and stuff that are getting close to the truth.
Yeah.
But you've got to realise that the best research is to be done right with the papers that the governments and the government institutions, and look at what they're actually saying. And if we look at what they're actually saying in their papers from their AGMs, then you can pick on that, because if there's any holes in it, you can, and there are, inevitably there will be. You can pick on those holes and then get the scientists involved.
Yeah.
And then.
Well, the thing is, though, Paul. I mean, these independent scientists that are brought in to, agree or disagree.
Yeah.
Particularly on the GMO debate, most of them are ex-Monsanto or Syngenta. All you've got to do is look at who's on the board of the FDA. 90% of them are ex-Monsanto scientists.
Wow.
So it's...
Yeah, exactly what I'm trying to say, though, is that if you find out who they are, and find out what their credentials are. What does their CV look like?
It's called follow the money, Paul.
That's right.
It's called follow the money. Yeah.
Who do they work for? What's their background and so forth?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of evidence. That's all I was sort of saying, is that there's a lot of media, even though it sort of looks like it's truth media, that is definitely not truth media, that's for sure. I mean, that was highlighted by Andrew Johnson. I mean, architects and engineers for 9/11 truth.
Yeah.
Government, hello, it's the government.
Yeah.
It's so obvious that it looks like it's trying to tell the truth for the movie, and really they're just spreading more of the fear.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I mean, coming back to something that Andrew Johnson said at one of his talks, the thing that sort of like triggered him was when he kept hearing science by consensus, which in itself is a conflicting statement, because you cannot have science by consensus. You can have science by empirical investigation, or you can have general agreement by consensus. but you cannot have science by consensus. You know, it's completely odd with each other. You know, which unfortunately that's where a lot of the scientific community's gone now. You know, it's gone down the lines of, well, you know, because most of us think that's probably right, then we'll agree to it.
That's right.
You know, the whole sort of like experiment and investigation side of science has disappeared. You know, which is a bit worrying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Well, yeah, I mean, I early on in my sort of awakening, I read a book called The Molecules of Emotion by Candice Pert.
Yeah.
And a very good book indeed. And she was one of the main scientists responsible for locking down the opiate receptor. So it's responsible for things like codeine.
Yeah.
You know, and we know how big those things are in today's, you know, pharma market. But, you know, I mean, that does open your mind up to the whole dogma that she talks about her career and the men and the fact that even if you've got a little bit of truth, to get that truth onto someone's tables that's going to make a difference is going to be nigh on impossible. If not impossible.
That's right.
In that current system. So to say that you're going to get into that system and be a beneficial force from something like the pharma industry or government, then you're better off starting up your own thing, starting from the ground up, build yourself a new foundation. And I think that's basically what we're trying to do in our communities. We're not trying to design new drugs or cutting edge science. We're just getting back to basics and building up that community, but at the same time have knowledge of what's out there. But you know, we need to grow those, set down our foundations first.
That's right.
But yeah, GMO is a very big area. But I mean, like one of the arguments, I had somebody come to my door who was doing a survey for GMO for what the public opinion was of it.
Oh, how bizarre.
Oh, you lucky person, Paul. That never come near me.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know how I managed to do it. I got him in for a cup of tea.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and he sort of said, well, you know, I mean, at the time I had the allotment, and he sort of said, well, you know, you could get two types of strawberry, and if they're not, you know, an F1 hybrid, and you could breed them together, and you've got yourself something that's modified from what you had before. And I went, yeah, natural, you know, crossbreeding is something that's been done for thousands of years. That's very different from what you're talking about, mate.
Right,
yeah. Well, I mean, it sort of stems back to because I did a bit of the history on GMOs as well. You know, modern, I suppose, modern genetics. You know, he's accredited to a guy by the name of Gregor Mendel, who was an Austrian scientist and also an Augustinian friar. And back in the 1850s and 1860s, he started by experimenting with cross-hybridising pea plants, and he basically showed that he could produce certain traits and certain patterns by taking the best out of each of the plants. So, you know, in modern day, he's the person accredited to, you know, where we are now. Yeah,
starting out with good intentions, but then becoming corrupted by science.
Well, I mean, it's a bit of an eye opener that he was a scientist who also was an Augustinian friar, you know, and part of the church. You know, if you were a true conspiracy theorist, you would have a field day with that one.
Yeah.
But I mean, sort of like, once you move up to the 1900s, his work was carried on by a couple of guys by the name of Hugo de Vries and Carl Correns, who basically, you know, improved it and started to manipulate his, you know, genetic theory. Yeah, and then that ultimately led on to Francis Crick and James Watson in the 1950s when they discovered DNA and actually started sort of like categorising it. And then, of course, like modern day, you know, you're talking, you know, companies like, you know, the biotech giants like Monsanto and Syngenta, who, to be honest, they've just perverted the whole of the good intention that was started.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
stuff,
Well, that's it. It's all like, you know, weapons in the wrong hands, isn't it? Because with a good intention, you can get a great tasting strawberry. You know, with a good intention, you can get a more hardy version of a vegetable that overwinters better. You know, with good intentions, you can do many things, and you can create natural hybrids that are going to benefit, you know, your whole community and the earth as a whole. But again, you've got to look at all the repercussions of what you're doing, and it's an incredibly responsible thing you're doing, really.
Well, exactly, because with good intentions, 125,000 Indian farmers committed suicide because of GMO crops not, you know, producing what they were supposed to do. Yeah. So, yeah, there's good and bad sides to everything, you know, and it's always best to try and look at the good, but at the same time, you have to inform people about the bad.
That's right.
It's all about the balance at the end of the day. People need to know the bad stuff, but, you know, it's getting the intention with, you know, the goodness behind it.
That's right. And giving them the solutions as well, and helping them to realise that they have the solution themselves also.
Yeah, the answer's in all of us.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we just got to look for it.
That's it.
It was. It's interesting you said about good intentions, and earlier on you mentioned about the co-op, and they're saying they didn't have GMO products, but Mural sort of said in the break that surely isn't possible because the products like they're selling all the mainstream chocolate bars that contain modified soya. You know, they do sell GMO products.
Yeah, they do.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, then they've committed perjury in an email because they blatantly lied to me then.
Because if they've got any modified cornstarch in anything on their shelves, then it's GMO. Because to my knowledge, and I know, to correct me if I'm wrong here, who knows of a non-genetically modified sweet corn being sold in a supermarket in the UK at all? Anyway.
And the funny thing is, like, corn flour is now in absolutely everything, and you know, where it wasn't, it is now, and so it must be, you know, because it's increased corn flour in absolutely everything.
Because there's a lot of joke things out there that people are buying into, like, for instance, fair trade and the fair trade logo and the red tractor. Come on, guys! This isn't. You might be pulling the wool over some people's eyes, but that isn't ethical.
Okay, well, I mean, just on sort of like, you know, the GMO labelling legislation within the European Union, manufacturers are legally obliged to label except for the following circumstances. The first one is food from animals which are fed GM animal feed. So anything that's meat and dairy has the potential to have been fed genetically modified feeds, and they don't have to label it. The second example is food produced with help from a GM enzyme. An example of this is cheese and bakery products where they can be produced with the help of an enzyme called amylase, because the enzymes are not required to be listed in ingredients, because most bread contains amylase, and if you noticed, a lot of white bread doesn't say vegetarian on it because they use the form of amylase which is from a pig's pancreas. Yeah.
So glad you got that in there.
Yeah. And then the other one, the final one, is feed additives produced from a GMO. Now, this one's the classic one. Whenever you see citric acid as a food ingredient, 95% guarantee that it's not from a citrus fruit. It's actually produced as a food additive as a product of a genetically modified mould. The mould is called Aspergillus niger, and it's a lovely black-looking mould. They basically feed cheap corn syrup or sugar water, and one of the byproducts from it is citric acid. Now, they've got like a 5-stage filtration process, which they extract the citric acid out from the mould, but there is a permissible level of contamination which is just below the 1% margin. So, you know, you still taking in, GMO as a contaminant.
I think this is where you can raise awareness, is we actually conduct these experiments and actually get the products and show this mould and show it in process and show their process to people. A bit like Jamie Oliver did by liquidising the chicken carcasses and making it on television. Let's shock them with the reality.
But interestingly on this as well, with this form, this main form of citric acid, they've actually, someone's done some independent studies on it, and they've actually proved that this form of citric acid has been linked to causing tooth decay because of the way it's created via corn syrup and sugar water. So if it's got that link to tooth decay, shouldn't doctors also be telling people as well that, if you're diabetic, you shouldn't be having this citric acid as a food additive in your diet? Someone needs to do an investigation into that and say, well, are there any links there as well?
So you've got to look at these ingredients properly, and what you've just pointed out there. A lot of people listening, or in myself included, might be thinking that citric acid was a fairly innocent ingredient.
Well, I mean, one really good example of showing this is when you go into the supermarkets, go to the orange juice section, right? Now, if you look on the orange juice, you shouldn't see any ingredients on there other than for it to say that it's freshly squeezed orange juice. Would I be correct in an assumption there?
You're not asking me here, Craig, because I've got a different answer.
But actually, when you look, it actually lists things like citric acid and ascorbic acid as ingredients. Now, why would they add something like that if you're getting pure orange juice? And that's down to the fact that they pasteurise it, which kills the vitamin C. They add either the GMO version, which is citric acid, or the synthetic version, which is ascorbic acid.
And I can tell you for now that I'm personally allergic to those because I'm allergic to penicillin, and Aspergillus niger is from the penicillin family.
It's a distant cousin.
It's a cousin of the penicillin, and I know if I have Brickvit, which has citric acid in it, that I automatically start to get like acid reflux.
Okay.
So that's another thing. So if you've got a penicillin allergy, drinking orange juice that's got citric acid in it.
It's food additives.
Because you're drinking a black mould, basically.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people out there thinking, well, I'll go for the freshly squeezed orange juice rather than the from concentrate, And they think they're getting freshly squeezed orange juice. As my friend in Birmingham told me, freshly squeezed 2 years ago, pasteurised, reoxygenated, and added all a load of additives into it. So there's only one way to freshly squeeze an orange, of course, and it gets freshly squeezed orange juice. Is to get a decent orange from somewhere non-GMO.
Non-GMO, yeah. Fantastic. Right, okay.
People are growing, by the way. It was on the BBC. I don't know if it was on Countryfile or one of the other programmes. I think it was the last but one Countryfile. There was a couple that retired out into Wales, and they're growing kiwis and lemons in their polytunnels in Wales. And I thought, well, that was brilliant, because if you can grow... And I'd heard another person who was growing lemons in Alaska with mirrors and things. If you can grow...
A lemon tree.
We've got a lemon tree, Paul.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah, in my back play.
And you've got fruit, yeah.
Guys, we're gonna have to wrap it up now. We've gone past our quota. We were supposed to be finished by 9, but they gave us another half an hour because they were so intrigued with the discussion, and we should have you guys back on.
Yeah, because I definitely want to discuss the herbs. This
is a topic which is needed to get out there for people to learn about more. So we'd definitely like to invite you guys back on the show. Definitely. So would you come back on another time?
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant.
I want to learn more about those herbs,
definitely,
like lime tree.
You'll have to come down to Truth Juice Birmingham one Tuesday.
Yeah, most definitely will. But I've been meaning to come down. Actually, it's my fault. So Paul, so Craig. I will make it down one.
He's getting it over. I haven't got a car at the moment, but I know that if we get enough people together, I know there's a couple of people who've got like a community minibus, and we can just just split the cost of putting the petrol in that and taking a few people down on a Tuesday, make a night of it.
That'd be good luck. Yeah, definitely.
But
Okay.
anyway,
Yeah.
thank you guys.
Thank you very
Definitely.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll definitely be getting in touch with you in the future. So yeah.
And we'll have Gary White. Is it Gary White? Yeah.
Gary White on Sunday.
Yeah, author of the God Fraction, the book, and it will be down on Sunday.
On Sunday.
And what are we discussing?
Well, what we're discussing, Paul? What's
Well, it's up to Gary. He's nearly finishing his book. He's got a blog with the God Fraction.
Yeah.
It's about the inner you and self-realization and all that stuff. He's doing a talk with us on Monday, and I guess it's best if he elaborates a little bit on the talk that he's doing for us on Monday. If you were to go to our Facebook, Truth Juice Leicester Facebook page, or the Truth Juice Leicester website, which is just truthjuice.co.uk, and then just click on Leicester events. But if you were to, if I go on it, I can tell you now. If you go onto our Facebook, it will tell you what Gary's talking about. Basically, it's a bit more interactive this Monday rather than just a talk.
Okay.
If people have got actual individual questions, he's asking them to ask him now as well before the talk. And he'll probably talk about that on your show as well.
Okay.
Basically, Gary's paid a lot of money in perception training and business training.
Okay.
He's been able to apply that with an ethical, outlook.
Yeah, brilliant. So we'll
powerful tools.
Definitely, we'll look forward to that one on Sunday.
Yeah, so people tune in on that, and then we'll definitely give everyone details on Facebook anyway.
You guys stay tuned for S for the D playing some really nice hip hop. If you like hip hop, it's not none of this rap crap what you hear in the mainstream charts. So, touching down on some nice vibes there. And then there's Mr. Lee also. Big up to Mr. Lee and big up to all the listeners out there. Also, do you know what I mean? And thank you for listening. And
all the new
thank you, Paul.
Thanks for listening in and tune in.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Muriel. Thank you. I didn't catch your name.
Heidi.
Heidi.
Heidi. Thank you. Bless you.
Thanks, Norman.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Bye.
Thank you, listeners, for listening in. Then.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm going to hand you over to S for the D. We're going to sign out with our end theme tune. Call it a theme tune.
Which one is that?
Ending tune, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
All
right. Bye everyone.
Fais's not been on for a while, didn't she? She's just come back from Cyprus. She's looking all melanated and that,
All right. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Everyone.
Thank you. Bless you.
Bye.
Okay. Good night.
In the name of the most gracious, most merciful, let her ask in faith, nothing doubting, for she that doubts is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed, everything in this world cursed and lost in our forgetfulness. Why do we choose to ignore the obvious and wish for places far too distant? If we could awaken, we would truly listen to melodies, they are so divine. Witness life bloom in colors not apparent to our earthly eyes, all the joys connected to our earthly lives are but a glimpse to what awaits. So this time I say I'm finally given, rewind, relove for the sake of fully living and the desperate hope of fully dying in a pure state. My only desire but to forgive and stay. My only hope that you would do the same. Our only mercy that the most gracious would remember our name. And with this change we begin this gracious dance, this wholesome trance, foundation so solid nothing shakes or bothers what's rooted so deeply. We witness these mercies rescue us. We remember the best of guides is guiding us, and with the firmness of this very step and with our certainty of death, we know that this is the most intimate caress, a kiss from the inside out. So close to truth we are now, strangers to doubt, and now whether wrote in triumph or defeat, we throw our hands up in victory, this great nearer to breath and finally